to unapologetic atheism. Here, we reject the idea that religion deserves reverence simply because it's old, powerful, or popular. We believe religions are untrue and promote an inherently harmful denial of reality. Our mission is simple: to end religion's dominance over our lives and to end it now. Not someday, not when it's convenient, not when everyone feels ready, now. This is the anti-altar call, an opportunity to undedicate your life to Christ, reclaim your autonomy, and join a community of secular humanists committed to uplifting marginalized voices, defending science, and fighting for the genuine liberation of human beings everywhere. I'm Dr. J. Bundy, aka Pocket Locker 86, an evolutionary biologist, biological anthropologist, and educator currently teaching anthropology and sociology at the collegiate level. I'm a former Christian youth minister and program director from a family of 5 generations of ministers. A church drummer and audio engineer turned scientist, organizer, political strategist, and unapologetic truth teller. It used to be my job to preach the gospel to kids. Now it's my mission to share the good news that the irrational gods we were taught to fear and obey do not exist. If you're here to think freely, live boldly, and build a better world rooted in reality instead of mythology, welcome. This is unapologetic atheism. Let's lock in.
Ready for takeoff?
Whoa. Working hard on my stump, what's the problem? I ain't had shit to show, being modest. Now it's grams of the wax for my conscience. Bron James in LA, you're on college. I've been jumping on them planes like a hobby. Still moving with the pack like my partners. Put the John on them jets cause you wildin'. But the boat is a party on the island, moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and Flocka. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't even for the pain when my pots flip. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof for my first whip. Split the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen a change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs on the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve him at the minute just to front, nigga. Goddamn. Had to grow up quick, I made my own rules. Had my first child, got it jumping with music. Can't really hang with nobody who losing. I thought by now that you would go and get it, but I could hardly see niggas as distant. Know you get cropped if you not in the picture. And I made that zag and went got a bag. Shots to the Henny and OG prescriptions, put rebel shit on the map. Took a leap from where I started at. Started ballin', now I'm Chris Paul and Cats. Got him steady calling for the mold, but I'm on a roll, gotta call him back. And that's all fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely, either in an overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas should now be clear. All electronic devices should now be turned off and stowed, as they may interfere with the aircraft's navigational and communication systems. Once airborne, we'll let you know when you may use approved electronic devices, but note that some items may not be used at any time during the flight. You'll find a list of approved devices in the in-flight information section.
Yes! We getting this Friendsgiving started Jersey style!
I never knew till then.
Friendsgiving! Oh, this that house party, house music feel. You're supposed to be doing the two-step with your crew. Some of y'all doing too much. I see some of y'all doing some of the weird, freaky moves. What is that? Where they do that at? Yo, where they? Where they do that? We don't do all that. It's Jersey. We just two-stepping. We two-stepping.
Future's bright.
Yes. That's how we getting down in the Garden State.
I never knew till
It's that bop right there. We about to be in the backyard with your cousin and them's, playing some spades.
I get chills.
All ancestors is around grooving. Yeah. Y'all don't even know that's a man singing that too. Grass to show y'all the comments. The comment said, it's just us New Jersey has that vodka music. Next comment, if you're from Jersey, you already know. That's how we doing it. We getting extremely monetized today. If you from New Jersey, it's mandatory. This get played at every family function. I told y'all this in Jersey. It's the Jersey in the motherfucking chat. Hands down, North Brick City, New Jersey's anthem. Jersey, stand up. Eastwick, New Jersey in the house. Jersey City in the house. Yes, North the Mecca for house music. North New Jersey, stand up, I miss the old days. The raw, dirty Jersey song will live on forever. That East Coast shit. Yeah. That's so good. So hard. Yeah, that's how you celebrate your friends around here. You Are My Friend by Kenny and Friends. Oh, so good. All right. Welcome everybody to the Pocket Locker Podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast, and as always, good people, I am in airplane mode. Speaking of airplane mode, it's Thanksgiving. I'm hoping to link up with the good old cuz, the one and only airplane mode himself, later this evening. But right now, we got to get into this Friendsgiving podcast. Gang, what did y'all do? What are you doing today? What are you doing? Are you like spending time with your like religious family members so they can like passive aggressively like pull you into their like cult behavior and then like make you thank their monster god for what are you doing? Do you just hate yourself? Do you just hate your life? Are you so privileged that you just think you're just gonna live forever? Like you're just gonna live on and on. You have, I don't know, some kind of atheist eternal life or some shit like that. And you just gonna live forever and never die. So you just have infinite amounts of time. So you just hate yourself and you just like really just, you don't even care what you do. You might have a whole day off. Your job done giving you a whole ass day off. Some of y'all ain't even, I'm in academia. You know, the kids ain't coming back to school tomorrow. You know, I ain't got to go back to work till Monday. But some of y'all jobs gave you a whole ass day off. Your ass got to go back to work tomorrow morning. and you spent the day with religious / and or conservative family members, probably spent 3-4 hours, wasted your whole goddamn last night. Couldn't even kick it last night. You was probably up late prepping 3-4 side dishes. Then you got with your religion. They made you bow your head and thank Jesus for your mother. They made you thank the motherfucking monster for your motherfucking food. And then you sat around doing what? Watching football with your racist uncle. What do you just really hate yourself? I just really have to understand. Gang, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood because it's motherfucking Thanksgiving and I freed myself from obligations to religious family members. I ain't fucking with them today. You know what I have done today? Absolutely nothing. And it has been beautiful. It's been wonderful. This is the best I've felt on Thanksgiving in ages. What I'm thankful for this year, y'all, I am thankful for not being around religious family members on Thanksgiving. Do you hear me, somebody? I'm preaching. Need the church to say amen. I'm telling y'all, these religious family members, that is so trash. That is such a bad idea. Like, don't stop. Just stop. Just don't do it to yourself. I'm telling you, you'll feel so much better. You'll feel free. You'll feel liberated. It's amazing. All right, y'all. But since it is Thanksgiving, let's be respectful. Let's all, I'm gonna do it, TT. Let's all bow our heads and thank God. Dear Father in heaven, we come here gathered on your day for giving thanks. It's a special day, set apart. Amen, Pastor. Set apart. Set apart for giving thanks, for expressing our gratitude to you, the Most High God, our Lord. Whew. So here we are, Lord. We just want to come humbly before you, thanking you for allowing us to be in your presence in prayer one more again, Jesus. And we just want to thank you above all else, God. We just want to humble ourselves. We are so humbled. And we just want to humbly thank you for not motherfucking existing. Yes, amen, dear God. We are so fucking thankful on today that your monkey ass does not exist because you are fucking psychotic, absolutely dangerous, motherfucking deranged, motherfucking bigoted, patriotic, fucking homophobic nationalist, fucking enslaver, fucking rapist, fucking genociding fucking monster of the ancients, just an absolute monstrosity, just literally the worst character in all of fiction. We are just so motherfucking grateful on this day that you do not exist. Amen, hallelujah. Can I get a witness from the congregation? Woo, we are so happy today that God doesn't exist. You got to gather around with the gang, with your family and friends, the real ones that actually give a shit about humanity, and stop wasting your motherfucking time with these motherfucking crazy people, y'all. Y'all, this has just been such a revelation, y'all. Such a revelation. Just stop. Just don't let these people do this to you. Y'all, doing nothing is so much more enjoyable than doing the wrong thing. Some of y'all done lived enough to know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go ahead and put our foot all the way up in this and get today's show going. We're going to talk about the reality of Thanksgiving from the only motherfuckers we should ever let talk to us about Thanksgiving. I swear to, if you ever want me to listen to anything you have to say about this motherfucking holiday, you need to look like and sound like the people we about to hear from. Let's roll the tape.
Thanksgiving, America. I'm Donna, and I'm here with...
Happy Thanksgiving, America.
I'm Donna, and I'm here with my friends to tell you the real history behind this holiday.
Uh-oh.
Growing up, I knew that what they told you in school about Thanksgiving wasn't true. That's not the true story. The true story behind Thanksgiving was, after every killing of a whole village, These European settlers celebrated it, and they called it Thanksgiving. But it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln became president that it became an official holiday.
He ordered 38 Dakota men to be hung for war crimes after the sacred holiday Christmas.
We take this time to remember our elders who lost their lives due to what really happened. Usually my mom makes a Native American dish for us and we pray.
Growing up, I would be kind of annoyed that they didn't know what actually happened on Thanksgiving and that they're actually celebrating the deaths of many people and many tribes that were lost.
Whether it's to give thanks or to be with your family, you should learn how the holiday was established in the first place.
I'm thankful for being born indigenous to this continent.
There you go.
I'm thankful that I still have my culture.
Tell them.
I'm thankful that my elders kept our culture alive all these years.
Speak on it.
I'm thankful to be indigenous, resilient, and alive.
I'm thankful for us all to be able to stand together, stand strong, and stand as one.
Happy Thanksgiving, America.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, that was awesome. That was fucking amazing. Fucking incredible. Telling people what it's really about. If you're going to be with your religious family, listen, it's time to rage bait, y'all. It's time to make them as uncomfortable as humanly possible. If you done fucked it up already and it's too late, don't worry about it. We're going to inspire you. Christmas is around the corner. Christmas is around the corner. You're going to get another shot at this. You're going to let them know. If y'all going to keep dragging me to these family functions and insisting that I participate in your cult activities, I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to say what I got to say. We going to have, y'all think y'all going to bring up uncomfortable, weird, conservative, bigoted talking points over the motherfucking dinner table? Well, guess what, motherfuckers? I'm here to bring up leftist, motherfucking woke ass, progressive, motherfucking straight up commie talking points to your ass. I can make this shit uncomfortable too. And then I'm telling you, they'll just stop inviting you or you'll have a big blow up. And then from now until eternity, gang, until the rest of your days, you could be free like me. You could be free like me, man. You could take them holiday, you could take them day off, you can lay around, you can enjoy it, you can do what you want to do. I suggest you do all of the things that they panic about people doing. And right now, I've been hearing a lot of right-wing panic around pornography, gambling, and gaming. They're saying that the MAGA men are not all right, and we're worried about them because they're addicted to pornography, gambling, and gaming, and the right-wingers, they're losing their minds. They can't have it. So you know that's where the fun is. You know whatever they be losing their minds about is exactly what you should be doing because they hate motherfucking fun. So if they are freaking out about pornography, gambling, and gaming, what the fuck do you think you should be doing with your day off? Ding, ding, ding. Pornography, gambling, and gaming. There you go. Exactly. But instead you went and hung out with your religious family. You did dinner prayer. You thanked God for the food you spent 19,000 hours preparing for these people you don't even want to have dinner with. And now you sitting around trying to figure out how many hours you got to spend with your conservative uncle before you could go home, go to bed, and get back to work tomorrow morning. You are making terrible life choices. And we're here to help. We're trying to save you. So from now on, you just got to make that shit as uncomfortable as possible so that they think it's their idea when they don't invite you next year. See, we trying to hook you up, but you got to take your medicine. You got to do it with time. What is this man trying to say to you?
Thanksgiving's always been weird to me, but now that I have kids, it's different. But so today we are supposed to be thankful for everything we have. And then tomorrow, there's a giant sale. So we murder each other in stampedes to get things that we don't have because they're on sale. And just because they're on sale doesn't mean you're saving money. You're not saving money. You're spending your money. So technically, you're not saving anything. Think about it.
Stay woke. Stay woke. See, he was on message. He said he ended with think about it. Only thing to put on screen is stay woke. He knows what time it is, y'all. He knows what time it is. All right, let's see how many y'all can handle this. Here we go. Boom.
It's turkey time.
Here we go.
You know, medical expenses wouldn't be so high.
Here we go.
The government has every right to deport.
Hang on a sec. We gotta shout out. We gotta shout out somebody that don't really necessarily get hollered out a lot in our community. And that's the lovely Kyle. And thank Kyle for sharing this clip with me. But I got to tell you, Kyle's actually really one of our kind of OGs now. Kyle's really around every day. Kyle's one of the like official like gang. You know, Kyle all the way gang, y'all. We gotta give Kyle some love. Shout out to everybody else. Who else is in the motherfucking chat? Let's holler at the chat. Let's just give our little roll call. We got Kyle. We got X is in the house. Y'all know I can't pronounce that. Pragmatic Crystal is in the house. Of course, my man Jake is in the house. We appreciate that. Look at the trees. Always good to see Trees. I gotta make sure I subscribe to Trees because Trees videos are dope, but Trees don't even have to fucking drop videos on you. Trees damn post to just keep your ass going. So make sure you subscribe to Look at the Trees. All right, I think I got most of the people in the chat. In the chat, active Ember, the lovely Ember. Check out me and Ember. We're gonna be doing a little adult Bible study for your ass tomorrow. That's what you should be doing with your Black Friday. With your Black Friday, you should be boycotting with black people, and then you should be watching me and Ember. That's a way better way to spend your Black Friday than whatever the fuck you were planning to do. And you went and hung out with your religious family today, so we already know your judgment cannot be trusted. We already know that. I got Jester in the house. I'm loving that, man. The chat is on fire. It's a lot of chat to scroll through. Which is that's a good thing. That's not a complaint. It's an observation. All right, I appreciate you. All right, let's roll this tape.
Whoever they are, in the words of William F. Buckley.
Here we
Jr.
go.
What about you? You've been awful quiet, huh?
It's Thanksgiving. I don't really want to get into politics.
Dade Murphy's in the house.
What are they teaching you in that fancy 2-year trade school? Huh?
What would they have done?
I'd like to share the points we have in common. For instance, our shared goal to make New York City affordable, not just for its richest citizens, but for everyone. The affordability crisis is crushing everyday New Yorkers and making the city uninhabitable. While I disagree with you fine gentlemen on a number of points, I think we can all agree that New Yorkers deserve cheaper groceries. I'm talking Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, the other one. New Yorkers deserve better, and I'm willing to sit with you on Thanksgiving to work to achieve a lower cost of living. We live in fucking San Diego. Right, but you get what I'm going for.
This is genuinely...
Oh, I love it. It's so good. And did y'all see how Mom Donnie pimped out Donald Trump? Y'all, I don't know why. I've just been on a kick lately, and I had a lot of real pimped up animosity towards white liberals. And I just have to tell you, white liberals, that Mom Donnie fucking embarrassed you. Mom Donnie fucking humiliated you. Mom Donnie dragged his ass, which I didn't even think he should do. Let's just be clear. Let's just be clear and unambiguous. I thought he should have told Trump to fuck all the way off. I thought he should have stayed his ass in New York City. Actually, I'm lying. He should not have stayed his ass in New York City. He should go on vacation. What? Well, get the fuck out of here. Shut up. He's about to become the mayor of New York City. You know how stressful that motherfucking job is? He just achieved a historic political victory, okay? Literally signaled a new direction that America could possibly go in with its political meta. It's not going to, but he definitely showed that it's possible. He signaled it, okay? And then he has an incredibly stressful job coming up, and it's the holiday season. Get the fuck out of here. The motherfucker should leave, go on vacation, Like, chill out, like go travel around wherever you want to do with your wife, your family, whatever you got going on. You know what I'm saying? And then show up in January ready to work. I'm just being honest. That's what I would have done. And what the fuck is Trump going to do? He's going to take money from New York City? He's not stupid. Okay? But Mamdani was like, nah, Jay, fuck that. I'm not like you. I'm going to get to work early. I'm all about the job. I ain't got time to wait. And yeah, I got to deal with this federal funding. So I'm going to go see Trump. So he drags his ass down to the fucking White House like a motherfucking G. Rolls up in Trump's office in a motherfucking private meeting, lays it down, says, listen here, you fascist motherfucker. A lot of New Yorkers fucking voted for your crazy ass because you talked about making their lives better and lowering the prices and, you know, America first and the blasé and the Glavin noise. Now, you're full of shit and you didn't do any of that, but people really did go for that. So pat yourself on the back. You bamboozled a lot of dumbasses into voting for you because you told them you were going to make shit easier for them. And look, you've done nothing but absolutely make their lives a miserable fucking hellhole since you got elected. But I'm actually going to try to fucking actually make their shit more affordable like you promised to do. And then you could take credit and be like, hey, I campaigned on fucking telling you guys I was going to make shit better. And now look at this Mamdani guy, like actually, you know, doing the things I think people should do and whatever the fuck, right? So then he comes out and they do their little fucking press conference. And Mamdani Trump is just so impressed and he's so blown the fuck away. And he's like sitting in a chair and you got Mamdani standing over him and he's like looking up at him all fucking lustingly. And he's like hoping he can fucking write him a Christmas card and all this shit. He's just fucking admiring him. And then the fucking media thinks they're going to get Mamdani like, but Mamdani, you said he was a fucking fascist. What's up with that? And Mamdani's like, now listen, I've made it very clear how I feel about this man in the past. Like he was just like giving, you know, pretty standard response. Like he didn't flex, he didn't bend, but it was just like, he was just like, you trying to say like, you know, yeah, we ain't got to go there right now. Like, you know how I feel about this man, but now's not really the time to do that. But Trump is just so fucking fawning. He's just so fucking impressed. He just wants to fucking touch the hem of his garments and whatever fucking gay shit is in the Bible, right? And so he just fucking loses his fucking mind. And Trump's just like, look, you could just say it. You could just say it. It doesn't matter. So Mamdani's like, yeah, whatever. Yes. Yeah. I think he's a fucking fascist. Like, white liberals, I want you to understand that man just fucking humiliated you. He literally showed you can fucking just straight up be a fucking leftist. You don't have to be such an apologetic bitch. You don't have to keep fucking being afraid of your own goddamn shadow. You can actually fight realistically for improving people's material living conditions. You don't have to be a fucking coward. You don't have to be a punk ass little bitch. And you can roll up to the White House, to the belly of the beast itself, be in front of all the national media and all that shit and call Trump a fascist to this face. Because we all know Trump's a fucking bitch. What the fuck is Trump gonna do? Nothing. And y'all been cowering for this man for like fucking decades. Mamdani just embarrassed the shit out of you because he proved the whole time you were a bitch for no fucking reason. For no fucking reason at all. I hope you're humiliated. Now, I want you to understand that this next thing I'm about to show you is also about your motherfucking humiliation. Okay? So get used to it. Apparently that's what you're into.
Crazy. A former congressional aide was found This is genuinely crazy. A former congressional aide was found zip-tied, slashed up, and branded with the phrase Trump whore by 3 men who supposedly targeted her for being MAGA. Right, except that isn't what happened. So the woman's Natalie Green. She's a New Jersey woman who formerly worked for Representative Jeff Van Drew. And on July 23rd, a friend of Green's called 911 saying that 3 men had attacked them while they were walking a trail in a New Jersey nature preserve. With his friend telling the operator that the men were going after Green specifically, saying that they knew that she worked for Van Drew and that they were yelling about politics and calling Green names. And when the police arrived, they found Green covered in cuts, her hands and feet zip tied together, and there was writing on her torso saying that Van Drew is racist, as well as the Trump whore message. Right, and when she was found, Green was reportedly crying and screaming through tears that her attackers had a gun and they threatened to shoot her. And then later on, you had Natalie saying to the cops that the men hit her in the head, held her down, used a sharp object to cut her up like that, and wrote the messages that they found on her. Except it turns out none of that is true. Right, because an investigation revealed that 2 days before this so-called attack, Green actually drove to Pennsylvania and paid an artist specializing in scarification to carve the lines into her shoulders, neck, and face, right? Even drawing up exactly what she was looking for. Also, investigators found the same exact zip ties used on Green in her own car, and that was also made worse by a zip ties near me Google search from 2 days before being found on her friend's phone. But really, the first thing that made this whole thing start to smell fishy was the conflicting accounts of the attack itself and the perpetrators being given by Green and her friend when they made it to the hospital. Because it seems like they went through all this work and yet they couldn't get their story straight when talking to the cops. And so now Green, she's been slapped with 1 count of conspiracy to convey false statements and hoaxes and 1 count of making false statements to federal law enforcement, each of which carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
Don't do it, man. That's what I told him. I met him. I said, "Yeah, you don't like it? Don't do it then."
All right, now, now a lot of you are confused. Sorry, I got the playlist autoplay bullshit going. All right, now you're like, Jay, what does this have to do with white liberals? It just seems like a MAGA nut job. Why are you trying to make everything about shaming white liberals? I don't see it. You don't see the connection? You don't see the connection? This is how much they hate you, white liberals. Notice how y'all get blamed for fucking everything, right? Because let's face it, God, why do I have to always tell people this? It's fucking racism, right? Obviously, right? They don't like the blacks and the browns and the women's and the trannies and all of those. And so since you, white liberals, would think you're gonna like champion for those people, even though you don't give a shit about those people, and you're literally the reason those people continue to be oppressed because you continue to fucking subjugate yourselves to the motherfucking status quo because you really actually don't want to challenge the system of white privilege that actually benefits you. But that's a slightly different angle on this whole thing. The reality is they fucking hate you for your even having the ideological audacity to fucking challenge them. And so they are constantly trying to demonize you and vilify you so that they can justify suppressing you. And they literally want to fucking kill you. And they want to come up with political justification to actually murder you. So that's why they blame you every time there's a fucking violent crime in this country. 2 fucking federal guard people get shot up. Some fucking woke leftist conspiracy is definitely responsible. Or a Trump fucking person tries to take out Trump. Totally the left conspiracy. A MAGA person fucking from the most MAGA family on earth takes out Charlie Kirk, and a trans person did it. It's always. Always. Why? Because they want to justify violence against white liberals. So these people hate you so fucking much. They are literally willing to pretend that they've been assaulted in the fucking woods in the name of Trump so that they can justify calling for fucking violence against you. How do you not see that that's what this is? It's crazy. Now, unfortunately for them, they're dumb as fucking rocks, right? But let's keep it real. It's really not their fault. See, what they are is ignorant ass conservative white people. And since the entire justice system is set up for them and they're constantly getting away with their crimes and also in full support of other people getting away with their crimes, as long as those people are also white, Christian, and conservative, since you see, when they see the whole system work to keep them out of fucking trouble, yeah, you're dog shit at criming because you grew up in an environment where nobody's after you, there's no threat to you, and you know that the justice system is being weaponized against the people that you hate. So yeah, you're just really bad at crime at that point. It's kind of not their fault. Like if you the rest of us kind of have an advantage, right? Because the justice system actually wants to rob us of our freedom and make us legalized slaves. So we got to keep our shit kind of tight when we're out there criming in the streets. But the conservatives, not so much. But I just hope you realize that that's how much they fucking hate you. Exactly. So next time you think I'm being mean, remember that. I'm just talking shit about you on the internet because I'm fucking sick of it. But yeah, they're willing to go that extra fucking mile. Like I said, unfortunately for them, they're dumb as shit, and literally kindergarten motherfucking cop could have figured out that was a fucking false flag operation. But it just shows the depths of how much they've really fucking despise you. And since it's like the holiday season and all that shit, I want to fucking remind you to be cheerful, just kind of a friendly holiday reminder from me because I'm such a lovely guy. All right, here we go. Again, the mission is simple, y'all. Christianity has to go down with Trump. Trump has to go down because of the Epstein shit. So prepare yourself. Again, it's motherfucking Thanksgiving. I'm trying to help you. Some of y'all right now are still stuck up in them situations. Like some of y'all went, because again, let's just call it. Let's just talk about our cultural differences, right? Because one of them is, I think some of y'all be doing Thanksgiving quote unquote dinner at a time that I would really call Thanksgiving lunch, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like our normal dinner, because some of y'all really do that like 5:30 dinner, 5:36 dinner. Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. My community, we don't do that. Dinner is kind of like a nighttime thing. It's usually definitely 7 or later, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, some of y'all, your Thanksgiving experience is already over. I'm still trying to inspire you because you're going to get another opportunity at this thing in Christmas, okay? So just get ready, get geared up, all right? And then some of y'all are currently in the situation right now, and I'm trying to inspire you to make that shit real fucking awkward before you get up out of there. So, so just remind them that they're Christians and they're real good Christians, and man, what serious, lovely, good Christians they are. So you're just curious, since they're such good, loving, awesome Christians, and they're always trying to protect everybody, and they're worried about the families and the children and all that. Why the fuck aren't they talking about Jeffrey Epstein? It's weird. It's weird. It's weird that they don't talk about that they don't preach about it in their sermons, and all your conservative Christian family members aren't up in arms about it. It's a real weird that they don't want to talk about it. So what's going on with that?
Oh, I knew it.
What up with that?
Yeah, I knew. Oh, I knew he was in there. Oh, definitely she's in there. Oh, I know they freaky asses was definitely up in there.
What happened?
Oh, they just released the Epstein files.
Oh, okay. So what now? What's the plan? What we gonna do about it? What we gonna do about it?
What you mean?
Like, what's the next step? Like, they dropped the files. Like, what's the plan? Like how we moving? Like,
what we doing? Yeah, let's go. Like, let's go. Let's roll out.
I'm going to work. I have a 16-hour a day, 8 days a week underpaid job to get to, buddy. And my $20 DoorDash layaway payment plan isn't going to pay itself.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's overdue.
Mm-hmm.
I have a G-O-B.
It's unfortunate, gang.
That's it?
That's it.
The internet made it seem like y'all was gonna
ride out. Yeah, like we really about to do something. Like, this America.
I mean, it seemed like y'all was gonna go into a four
we ain't gonna do nothing.
Or something like that.
Be so fucking for real right now. Americans are pussy. This country playing our guts every week, and we just sit there and take the back shots. No spit to start.
True.
You think a country full of people who knows that the food is poison and eats it anyway is going to revolt? Oh, brother.
Though, yeah, we got a lot to teach you.
You think a country that lets their government overtax their people and use that tax money for everything but helping their people is going to revolt?
Preach on it.
You're cooking.
You think a country that lets traffic happen is going to revolt? Traffic. Just drive straight. Nigga, like, traffic is not even real. Traffic is a government conspiracy created by the FBI and big oil to waste people gas so that they need to go get more gas. Nigga, this country's messed up, man. It's messed up.
Okay.
Anyways, Kanye was right. Slavery is a choice, apparently, and everybody's scared of the government, and nobody gonna do nothing about nothing but bitch whine and complain to something that they got the power to change if they just unify and come together,
Anyway.
But if you'll excuse me, I have to go on to TikTok and comment, doing everything except releasing those Epstein files under political videos when I damn well won't do anything when they actually release those Epstein files.
Yeah, it's a tough reality, gang. I ain't gonna hold you. It's a tough reality we're living through right now, but it needs to be said. But look, hey, the reality is this should be everything, y'all. This Epstein shit should be motherfucking everything. And of course, we gotta always tip the cap to the survivors and the non-survivors, like Virginia Dufresne. Like just like what is happening? What is happening? But I think there's real hope for me that this is the bridge too far. And it seems to be for a lot of people. But we definitely got to tip the cap to those brave women who spoke out and continue to speak out and continue to keep applying the pressure. I hope that they seem to be our last hope at potentially saving democracy. And I hope that they are the downfall of the Trump administration. And I hope that the downfall of the Trump administration is the motherfucking downfall of Christianity, which is exactly what it needs to be. And again, gang, the rationale is motherfucking simple. You, as atheists, already know how much people love to look into the Bible and point out all the fucked up shit that happens in the Bible. We even have a word for it. It's like biblical shit. Like, cause again, we all know that this fucking religion shit is a fucking game where people get to play up in our face about monstrous shit. So anytime something's described as biblical, we already know that shit means it's all the way fucked up. Like, it's amazing how religion has so much fucking privilege to play in our faces about morality that we all know the term biblical, when used as a fucking adjective, is a fucking euphemism of abject, depraved evil. And we still let these motherfuckers play in our face and tell us how fucking moral they are. What the fuck is wrong with us? We have a fucking humiliation kink that we really need to discuss with qualified professionals. It's fucking ridiculous. So anyway, this is our opportunity to talk about what Christians have done to us now, in real time, in the year of our Lord 2025. We don't need to talk about fucked up fairy tales from the fucking Bible. We can just start at 2020, talk about the motherfucking response to the pandemic, roll it on up into that MAGA fucking package, and tell them we're done with the bullshit. And before you get on your motherfucking high horse that I'm about to fucking murder in front of your ass, about the liberal ones and the progressive ones and the nice ones and the lovely ones with the motherfucking melting, warm, fuzzy fucking hearts. I don't give a fuck, because they support the same motherfucking cult and they're fucking useless. Again, think about the language, adapt the language, listen to the language, use the motherfucking language, gang. They are the Democrats of the motherfucking church. Controlled opposition, paid to fucking lose, okay? So I don't want to hear it. They're useless. What did progressive Christianity do to stop this shit? Tell me how great it is that all the fucking people in power responsible for the child sex ring involving Epstein and the president of the United States, they're all locked up behind bars. And you know who we have to thank for that? The motherfucking progressive Christians. Because the progressive Christians, they came to the motherfucking rescue. They called people out. They held the religious institutions to account. They held the people in power to account. And now we have woke progressive Christians to thank for turning this shit around and getting us going. Are you fucking delusional? Exactly. They are controlled opposition. And do you know why they're actually progressive Christians? Because they don't give a fuck about any of this shit. They don't give a fuck about any of us. They just want to be associated with the same fucking group and the same fucking bullshit and nonsense that tells them they're fucking special and they get to fucking live forever. And they fucking hate us just as much, y'all. They think our shit's sinful. They think we're fucking heathens. They think LGBTQ people are gross and unnatural and a fucking defiance of their God's order, and their God don't make mistakes. Stop fucking capitulating to people who fucking hate your goddamn guts. It's so weird. All right, let's move on. Because again, we're tying all these things together because we're sick of these fucking people and we're tired of them playing in our face. So again, we're trying to make Thanksgiving as awkward as humanly possible. You need to ask them why they're not talking about Epstein. Oh, and then ask them about this.
I hope everyone's having an amazing Tuesday evening. I was reminded of something.
I'm just going to say quickly, if you're having an amazing Tuesday evening, please seek medical attention.
Laptop, and I'm going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. The young woman who spent the last several days calling churches, asking them for baby formula for her starving baby, 2-month-old infant who had not eaten in a day, and the vast majority of those churches said no. And then pastors and churches are absolutely crashing out on TikTok in the aftermath and online in the aftermath of that, saying any number of horrific and horrible things about this young woman. I was reminded that there is an entire industry of insurance companies that sell insurance policies to churches to cover churches and their employees for sexual misconduct, sexual molestation, sexual abuse, liability insurance. There's one company called Church Mutual, churchmutual.com. Sexual misconduct, molestation, liability insurance typically provides coverage for a range of incidents, claims, and liabilities related to sexual misconduct, molestation, or abuse. These policies protect against claims of misconduct, physical, sexual, emotional abuse, or harassment, and may cover legal defense costs, settlements, or damages. There's another company called ministryinsured.com that provides abuse and molestation liability coverage. Abuse and molestation liability coverage is a crucial form of protection designed to safeguard organizations against potential financial losses. There's another company or another website.
This is just like, again, it's sort of interesting. Like I'm getting to a place in the semester where I'm kind of coming to the end of the semester with my students, and we've been on this wonderful journey, either in intro to sociology or cultural anthropology, and they've had an opportunity to think about so many of the different aspects of our culture and our social systems, and now we can start tying it all together. And one thing I was talking to them about, because we were talking about healthcare yesterday, and I was talking to them about like the shutdown and just how much like the government is playing in our faces, right? Like how we should have universal healthcare. Like I started by asking them how many of them have heard something to the effect of, we're one of the only civilized, whatever, blah, 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 descriptive countries that, doesn't have some form of universal healthcare, right? Most of them raise their hands. Okay, so they've all heard this thing said about us, right? And then, it's a thing. Most of them sounds pretty decent to most of them, right? Especially since a lot of them are going into healthcare professions. And the reality that, like, how broken our healthcare system is, we've just done this sociology chapter on healthcare, right? So we're having this conversation. And so one of the things we've looked at, show you kind of the synthesis, one of the things we've looked at is the rising cost of healthcare. So they've looked at these charts where, let's just say, even pick a time, but maybe it's like the 70s or whatever, you could just sort of see the healthcare costs just astronomically go off the charts. And then I'm able to connect that to like the chapters, say, on economics, where we've looked at the fact that wages have been flat since the last 50 years, right? So now they can put those two things together. So people aren't making any more money, but their healthcare costs have gone up astronomically, right? And I've even tied this to, decisions about life and death, where sometimes people just die early because, you work your whole life to accumulate resources that you can, pass on to improve the intergenerational long-term stability of your family. And the proposition of, end-of-life care is such that most people will spend most of that accumulated assets and resources on their end-of-life care. And so, once you deal with what isn't covered by insurance or all of those type of things, sometimes people just have to fucking die early rather than go completely broke and leave nothing to their families. And that this is a decision people should have to make, right? And so our system is already fucked as it is. And so we have this government shutdown, and instead of it being like, holy shit, did we just have the longest shutdown in government history because there's a party that is blatantly and obviously, again, playing in our faces and trying to strip us of our healthcare? Let's immediately create the social pressure to go back into the fucking Capitol right now, get back to work, give us a real fucking universal healthcare system immediately, and shut the fuck up. It's 2025. What are we talking about? Let's step into the modern world. That could have been a possibility. That should have been the outcome. Honestly, I don't see how that isn't the only fucking acceptable outcome in this situation. I didn't quite say that to my students, but I will say that to y'all. And instead, the Democrats, who literally just won landslide historic races up and down the ballot all over the country, all the political leverage in the world, absolutely zero political incentive to cave, strategically identify who can cave because they think we're all stupid enough to not realize that they're either going to retire or they're not up for re-election for a few years. So they just, again, can play in our faces and we'll forget about it by the time they're up for re-election. And who gives a shit anyway? They just got to find a way to capitulate. And if they die, they die. And so then the outcome is now actually the expectation is our healthcare costs are going to do something between doubling and quadrupling or 5 or 8x or whatever the fuck it's going to be. And again, they just play in our faces like somehow this is the inevitable outcome. And the same thing is happening with all of this Epstein sex shit. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that this is our culture, particularly our American religious Christian church culture. We know that they constantly use the Bible to defend the worst practices of humanity. They use the Bible to justify slavery. They use the Bible to justify patriarchy. They use the Bible to justify sexism and misogyny and every fucking thing. Y'all know. And they also use the Bible to normalize taking women, raping women, marrying the rapist. Oh, because he married her, and that was the way of making it right. What the fuck are you talking about, you fucking psycho? But again, we let them play in our faces about this. We let liberals, we let white liberal atheists, I repeat, we let white liberal atheists talk to us about how fucking progressive and liberal the Pope of the Catholic Church is, because he's anti-war and pro-immigration. Wow. Such a high moral bar to clear. Welcome to the club. Oh, you're anti-war and you don't think we should fucking black bag fucking immigrants? Cool. Welcome to the left. Are y'all fucking serious? Meanwhile, this literal same new pope that they're bloviating and ball licking over, his path to power in the motherfucking church was literally being the supervisor of appointing bishops. Who the fuck is spearheading the Catholic Church's fucking renewing its fucking nuptials with MAGA evangelicals? Yeah, the bishops. Duh, the bishops. Who also continue to defend the sanctity of the confession booth. And therefore they can't tell us when somebody's committed a murder or victimized a child. Meanwhile, me as an educator, I can fuck all the way off. Who gives a fuck if I also am in a position where young people tell me of terrible things that are either happening to them or they know of or whatever the fuck, and I'm a fucking mandatory reporter, and a fucking psychiatric professional is a fucking mandatory reporter, and everybody else that has a fucking privileged position of confidence in society is a motherfucking mandatory reporter. But again, we're gonna let the fucking priest, the moral teachers, the beacons of leadership, be the ones to advocate for not having those same basic human obligations. Meanwhile, the religious right is just, again, like MAGA Mike Johnson, the one they call like Lil Moses or whatever, literally sent Congress home on vacation early to avoid voting on the Epstein files. Why do y'all want to continue to play these games with religion? I honestly don't understand it. It literally doesn't make any sense to me. I'm gonna let him roll because we have so much to get into. All right, let's go.
Called churchlawandtax.com. They have an article called "Does Your Church Have Sexual Abuse Liability Insurance Coverage?" This article focuses on insurance coverage and financial vulnerabilities.
Hell yeah, real woke leftist people would dissolve the church. Amen to that.
And ministries face upon abuse
like sugar in my coffee.
There's another carrier named MinistrySafe.com. One of the most common deficiencies
on the motherfucking ones and twos said, I want to vomit every time I hear that about the Pope. Yep, couldn't agree more.
Revealed in a sexual abuse crisis relates to insurance. Incorrect coverages, insufficient limits. Another company called churchwest.com, sexual misconduct liability insurance. Sexual misconduct liability insurance pays for designated claims of bodily injury, emotional injury, and personal injury connected to sexual misconduct.
So this is just crazy. It's just, again, like, why do we allow this to be in society? We know these people are liars. We know they've been behind every fucking horrible disaster of human creation throughout history. And we know apparently insurance for sex crimes, especially sex crimes involving minors, is just a service that we should all be comfortable that they should expect, they will very likely need. And again, if you're going to spend your holidays being forced to interact with your religious family members who are going to force you to thank their God for your food, I think it's okay that you ask them about this. I think you should ask them about this. I think you should say, while we're bowing our head and, thanking this God for our food, I want to know how you feel about this. Does your church have this type of insurance? Do you know if they have this type of insurance? Have you asked? Maybe you should ask. How do you feel about churches having this kind of? Let's take your church out of this. Let's not talk about your church. You don't know if your church has this insurance or not. Let's assume they don't. Let's assume they don't. If they don't though, who would pay for this thing? I mean, because actually, gang, that's the church's defense. The church's defense, like, hey, gang, if we didn't have this motherfucking insurance, who do you think would have to pay for it, man? Do you guys want to pay them liability lawsuits? I mean, or would you rather just pay for the insurance? You know what I mean? But that's where we're at. And yeah, these hey, shit. You guys are picking up what I'm laying down. You're understanding why my family doesn't invite me to these functions. But fuck yeah, let's go there.
Another carrier named Ministry Pacific. Protect your church from sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct liability insurance is a firewall against bankruptcy in the event of a civil or criminal trial.
Oh, I forgot to change the question of the day.
An individual or church. Great American Insurance Group. Abuse or molestation coverage, specialty human services. Great American offers comprehensive abuse and molestation insurance coverage that works to prevent.
I didn't either. It's this actually blew my mind. It's so fucking crazy. I did not know about this. But it's amazing. You can see that it's a whole fucking cottage industry. And it's literally just for this essential, their words, not ours, essential protection for churches.
Acts and protects the organization if that occurs. So the people who have been lecturing us for the last several days, because of a young mother with a 2-month-old child who had called them asking for baby formula and they said no, and now they are lecturing her, they are lecturing us, and they're basically issuing veiled threats. Christian churches in the United States have such a prevalence of sexual abuse, sexual assault, and sexual molestation that there is an entire industry within the insurance industry selling insurance policies to churches because sexual abuse and sexual assault within churches is so fucking common that there is an entire industry and subcategory of liability insurance coverage in the United States to cover it. Church officials, church leaders, pastors, reverends, youth pastors, priests are engaging in so much sexual misconduct on such a frequent and regular basis that there are dozens of insurance companies who sell them liability insurance for that. It happens so often, so frequently, and is completely widespread across the United States from north to south, from east to west. Church officials are sexually abusing and sexually assaulting so many people that there are companies that provide only this kind of insurance coverage to Christian churches. And they're lecturing us about their response to a young woman who wanted baby formula for a 2-month-old infant. How the fuck is anybody a church-going Christian anymore in the United States of America in November of 2025?
Oh, I'm so glad he said it.
And if you are,
I'm so
the
glad
next
he
time
said
you
it.
go to church,
There it is.
I dare you to raise your hand and ask your pastor or your reverend, does this church carry sexual misconduct and molestation liability insurance?
Yes.
And how much of our money
there it is
are you using every year
there it
to
is
pay
brother
for that policy or policies?
Yes.
And who does it
I
cover?
will take the white guy with the mullet for $10,000, please. Thank you very much.
What does it cover? And what kind of background checks do they do into you guys before they provide coverage that the parishioners are paying for? These are the people who are lecturing us about morality and about Christianity and about the principles of Christianity and caring for the poor and the hungry. They're committing
What a joke.
so much
Again,
sexual
y'all let them play in our faces about, oh, Jesus wanted to serve the poor and he multiplied the fish and the loaves. Can we get some baby formula? Nah, we can't. Hello, can we get some baby formula? Nah, we can't. Hello, can we get some baby formula? Well, do you attend? Which of our campuses do you attend? Let me see your record of donations. Attendance. Crazy.
Misconduct and molestation and sexual abuse, that there is an entire industry of insurance carriers that provide Christian churches in the United States with liability insurance for that. And they're lecturing us. So I encourage everyone who's still a Christian, who still goes to church, ask your church leaders if they have this kind of coverage and how much of their in the first place around for this kind of a policy in the first place.
Why?
I'll give you the short answer. It's because white men who are evangelical Republicans are perverts. And they think they should be able to marry 13-year-old girls. And if they can't marry them... they're going to have an insurance policy in place for what they're actually going to do to them. And their parishioners are paying for that coverage and don't know it.
As someone who grew up in
hang on. We're not there yet. We'll get there. Just jump a little bit. Jump in here a little bit ahead of yourself, young lady. All right. Ask your family. I don't know. I don't go to their church, y'all. Why are you looking at me? I don't know what their church is getting down with. But I would want to know. So I think you should bring it up. I think you should ask your family if they're aware that this type of insurance exists for churches, and do they know whether or not their church has this kind of insurance, and if they'd be willing to ask, because it'd be a good thing to know. It'd be a good thing to know. And that is why it is so important that we try to connect these dots, gang. And it's pretty funny. Like the more I think that I let go of that gnawing feeling that like I need to make religious people comfortable with what I have to say about my own fucking religious trauma. Can you imagine this shit? yeah, the better it just all feels. I'm being so for real with y'all when I say today has been the best I've ever felt on Thanksgiving. I don't say like ever, like Thanksgiving's cool, and yes, when I was a religious kid growing up and I was young and family and all of that good shit, like yeah, I had some great times in Thanksgiving. But I can honestly tell you, especially ever since I became a non-believer and either being around religious family on Thanksgiving or pining to be around religious family on Thanksgiving. This was like my happiest like adult Thanksgiving, especially since deconverting. And it's because I literally entertained no invitations from my family. Actually, to be honest with you, my family, like the religious part of my family, didn't even ask me to do anything with them, which is fine because I wouldn't have come. So they did me a favor but that's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful. My dad hit me up and it asked me if I wanted to have lunch tomorrow. He'd been telling me like that. He was like, oh yeah, because he does whatever he does for Thanksgiving. So I'll probably see him tomorrow, and I think my cousin might have people over later. Like I said, so I'm gonna go. If he has people over, I always show up for Kuska because that's like Friendsgiving. You know what I mean? He's just gonna have his people over. We're gonna smoke some weed, drink some Hennessy, game and gamble. You know what I mean? We're gonna throw some dice, play some spades. We're gonna game and gamble. So that'll take care of the gaming and gambling, and then all I got to do is get some pornography in there for the full anti-Christian trifecta. So yeah, it's beautiful, but literally, like I said before the stream started, I did absolutely nothing today, and it felt great. It felt great because I just don't have to deal with this shit. It feels so. It's just a beautiful time, just like a beautiful day off, and I'm like, oh, I'm relaxed and I'm chilling. And I was like, started thinking of all the things I could do, and then I was like, I've been wanting to stream more. As y'all could tell, I've been trying to squeeze some streams in when I can. I was like, I ain't doing shit. Let me go stream. Got some shit I want to get off my chest. I want to ruin people's Thanksgiving with their families. That's what I was really feeling. I was really chilling, feeling myself, and I was like, yeah, let's go ruin Thanksgiving. But yeah, y'all gotta stop letting these people play in our face. All right, so let me read something to y'all, because this is what I really wanted to put together. This is what I started to put together for my students. I didn't really go all the way there, but I pulled it up in ChatGPT. So let me see which seat now I want to do this one. Actually, no, I should go. I should do a different scene real quick. Let's do picture in picture. Yeah, all right, that's fine. Uh-oh. Wrong screen. Here we go. All right, so I asked ChatGPT, I said, what the fuck is up with Republicans defending Epstein, trying to lower the age of consent, moving the K-12 education into the Department of Labor, wanting to try 14-year-olds as adults, and also advocating for child marriage? Why are Americans letting this happen in our faces? So ChatGPT was like, here's the honest, clear, non-gaslighting answer you deserve, rooted in political sociology, not vague both sides nonsense. Why does it feel like parts of the Republican Party are normalizing ideas around weakening protection for minors? Because they are pushing proposals that, taken together, erode child protections, and they're doing it under several ideological umbrellas that sound unrelated until you line them up. All right, so there is a coordinated ideological through line. These scattered proposals have a shared root: the modern right shift towards authoritarian, theocratic, and corporatist politics. Christian nationalism, quote-unquote parental rights as a weapon. The movement wants to restore a patriarchal household where men have near total control. This produces legal child marriage exemptions, often justified as quote-unquote religious freedom. Again, think about that. We normalize it. We normalize it, gang. White liberals, I'm talking to y'all. You let these people play in our faces and argue for the rights to marry children as religious freedom. Which religion, which freedoms? If you answered Christianity and the freedom to marry and fuck children, ding, 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 congratulations, that's the right answer. So that's what you should ask them. That's what you should say instead. You're saying, let me get this straight, Mr. White Man Christian. What you're saying is that because of your white man Christianity, you should get to marry and fuck children. Or no, you'd rather let them play in our faces and keep doing this and maybe pass these laws and maybe get to actually then marry and fuck children? Let me ask you a question. What are you more uncomfortable with? Are you more uncomfortable with the fact that a significant portion of people in this country actually want to justify and pass laws so that they can marry and fuck children? Or are you more uncomfortable that I'm asking you to say something to them about it? What bothers you more? Again, I'm gonna, because I know some of y'all gonna screw up and tap dance and fall over and become Olympic level gymnastics to not hear what I just fucking said. Are you more uncomfortable with the fact that they want to legalize their ability to marry and fuck children? Or are you more uncomfortable with the fact that I think you should say something to them about it? I need you to think long and hard about that. And if you're actually still at a fucking family function with religious people, or you're planning to go back for another one this Christmas, again, are you more uncomfortable with the fact that some of them want to pass laws so they can marry and fuck children? Or are you more uncomfortable with the fact that I think you should say something to them about it? Do you really want to get out of that? Yeah, I bet you want to get out of it. I bet you realize I just put you in a motherfucking uncomfortable situation. So you know what the fuck you could do? Link up with the gang and fucking celebrate the holidays with the atheist homies and actually enjoy your motherfucking time off, and don't bother with religious family and friends because you already know how that fucking conversation's gonna go. Not good. So yeah, that's why it's better to just not even go that route. Okay, so here we go. So they want to have legal child marriage exemptions, efforts to weaken statutory rape laws, opposition to sex education and reproductive health access, attempts to move K through 12 into quote unquote family control frameworks, and hostility to child protective services, mandated reporters, and agencies that protect children. Chiefly amongst them, of course, being the church, that has hostility to child protective services, mandated reporting, and the agencies that protect children. The Christian nationalist worldview sees teenagers not as autonomous people, but as property of the family, especially the father. Wonder where they get those ideas from. This worldview benefits from marrying young, bearing children young, limiting access to secular education, cutting kids off from state protections. It's not a bug, it's a feature. B, authoritarianism plus carceral state, treating minors like adults when punitive. This produces trying 13 to 14-year-olds as adults in criminal courts, mandatory minimums for youth, militarized school discipline, zero tolerance policies, and opposition to juvenile justice reform. It's important authoritarian systems treat children as adults when punishing them and property when controlling them. The contradiction is not an error, it's classic authoritarianism. Unbelievable. And then it also justifies the notion that they're fucking adults who, again, should be able to fuck and marry if they're able to go to work. Corporatism, building a low-cost youth labor pool. Republican bills allowing 14-year-olds to work in factories, loosening child labor protections in multiple states, efforts to shift parts of education under the Department of Labor, and apprenticeships designed to move kids straight into low-wage work. This is not about giving kids opportunity. It's about reducing labor costs, increasing employer power, funneling kids into the workforce before they have bargaining skills, shrinking higher education enrollment, creating a replaceable quote-unquote pre-adult worker class. Again, that way, when you fucking finally realize you should revolt against the motherfucking system, they can just replace you with the labor of your motherfucking child, who, let's face it, wasn't going to get a good education in this fucking country anyway. Number 2, the Epstein connection is about hypocrisy plus moral cover. Why do some GOP figures defend Epstein or minimalize the scandal? Because many in these circles are entangled with the same donor class, rely on the same political networks, want to delegitimize scrutiny of elite sexual abuse, normalize quote-unquote older man / younger girl power dynamics, subscribe to purity culture that frames teen girls as adult-like once they hit puberty, and have an interest in shifting blame away from wealthy men. The goal is to make sexual predation appear like a moral failing, not a structural abuse of power. So why aren't Americans reacting more strongly? Fragmentation and information overload. People see it one issue at a time. Child marriage in Missouri, child labor in Iowa, age of consent proposals in Tennessee, education to Department of Labor idea, punitive juvenile justice in Florida. They don't see the pattern. You did because you put the pieces together. Thank you. I'm a motherfucking sociology professor. Media normalization. Major outlets treat these bills as, quote, culture war stories, not as coordinated authoritarian trend lines. Controlled framing. Republicans frame these policies as emotional hooks. Quote, unquote, parent rights, tough on crime, school choice, workforce readiness, protecting children from liberal indoctrination. People respond to the frame, not the content. Democrats often hesitate to call it what it is out of fear of being accused of exaggeration. Many mainstream figures shy away from describing these moves as authoritarian or anti-child, even when they are. The blunt truth, this is textbook authoritarian family policy. Every authoritarian movement in the last 150 years has tried to control children, weaken external protections, increase parental patriarchal authority, push young labor, sexualize young girls while moralizing about family values, punish young offenders as if they are adults, remove children from liberal or secular institutions. This is precisely the pattern political scientists warn about. What you're seeing is not random. It's a coherent ideological shift, one that Americans aren't being taught to recognize. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. And with all of this happening, I have to come back to the mission statement of this motherfucking channel. This is unapologetic atheism. I have to ask, why are we still letting these people play in our faces? Why are we still letting these people play in our faces? We do not need to point to the moral depravity of the Bible. We can point to the moral depravity of the Christian behavior we see in our country right now and the absolute rot it has produced. Do y'all want to wake up and get serious? Another thing we need to do is we need to talk about something. It's not what this stream is about today, but I'm gonna give y'all a little preview. It's called elite occupation construction, which is a part of elite class construction. But basically, people need to think about the fact that a lot of the quote-unquote news, information, opinion, all that bullshit is being driven by a new class of elites. People who are well-compensated content creators, and being so basically insulates them from the actual economic and political realities most of us have to deal with. I was thinking about this because we're having conversations in our community about the fact that our community is having a hard time. Like, many of us are really, really struggling. And, you know, things have always been hard, but they've been noticeably harder since Trump took office again. We can point to the moments policy changes happen, and we can point to the impact on our lives since. And it's a real issue that there's a class of people who benefit from the current status quo of our attention economy, and continuing to benefit from that status quo, again, further insulates them from the economic realities of our political situation. And so it's really time for us to deconstruct that process and interfere in it, because it's gonna get us all fucking killed. Because again, these people are playing in our face and acting like what we need to do is be patient and continue to negotiate our humanity with people rather than move in radical opposition to them ignoring their feelings or their continued demands that we explain ourselves to them. Yeah, so super fucked. But let Monte get in here and set this thing right off, because I wanted to kind of cue her up last before we get into the main event. All right, so I'm gonna let her do her thing. We're gonna switch back to our scene.
As someone who grew up in white Christian nationalism, understand that they will continue to defend the type of men found on the Epstein files, provided those men say that they are Christians and they are conservative, and they've been trained to do it their whole life. And I'm going to do an 8-minute video breaking this down on Patreon tonight, but I'm going to summarize it here. They were taught this by King David, because King David was taught as this hero of the faith, this Old Testament hero. He's in the lineage of Jesus. He's the favorite of the Old Testament leaders. He's also a rapist and a murderer, but was still considered in the Bible to be a man after God's own heart. That's why when you confront Christians about Trump's behavior, Trump's affiliation with Epstein, or other spiritual leaders who have misconduct with teenage girls, for instance, they will repeatedly say, well, God uses imperfect vessels. Well, God forgave David for his sin with Bathsheba. What was the sin with Bathsheba? They teach it in church that David committed adultery with Bathsheba and then later killed her husband to cover up his indiscretion. That's not what happened. Bathsheba was raped, because when David was walking on the roof of his palace when he should have been at war with his soldiers, he sees her bathing in her courtyard, which is where people bathed, sent soldiers to go get her, drag her to the palace, and forced himself on her, because you can't say no to the person who can chop your head off if you try to refuse. It's also ignorance about what sexual ethic was in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, only one person had sexual agency, and it was a man, and a sexual agent committed a sexual act to an object. The object's consent did not matter or not, which is why those same-sex verses in the Old Testament are referring to abuse, because they were taking away the agency of a man. And that's why those Old Testament verses do not include same-sex intercourse between women, because as sexual objects, their consent did not matter, nor did it disrupt the social hierarchy. So what David actually did was he kidnapped and raped a woman, and then he murdered her husband. But in the Bible, the sin is not against Bathsheba. And we see the prophet Nathan come to David to confront him. He does not confront him for what he did to Bathsheba, his sin against her. He confronts him using this parable of a ewe lamb stolen from a poor man, that the sin was stealing another man's property. So what they've done in the church is they have allowed the story of David and Bathsheba to say that a man, no matter how grievous his sin, can still be righteous in the eyes of God, and a woman, no matter her victimization, is still culpable to the crime. And they have now used that to justify, well, she was 15, she knew better, even though the pastor was 55. They use it to justify people like Trump and whoever serves their gains, because ultimately it's about control in the sexual ethic of the Old Testament. And it's also about being able to navigate for power under the guise of spirituality by using these chapters. The church later emphasized this misogyny by including books in the Bible that we knew were pseudepigraphal, meaning they were written under a false name. They knew it then, they knew it now, things like 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus, but they included it because of its subjugation of women, because it was about power and the divinity of men to be able to be vessels of God and of power regardless of their sin.
Congressman, any reaction to Kristi Noem removing...
Killer. Fucking hate autoplay. Killer, fucking killer. Listen. I don't. That's the connection we have to make, gang. This is when I say Christianity has to go down with Trump. This is what I'm talking about. We have to literally seize this moment to make the connection to say no. It's not a coincidence what's going on with this Epstein shit. It is absolutely a predictable manifestation of the motherfucking Christian culture that we have allowed to become incredibly normalized in this fucking country. Everybody under their mother knows about all the scandals in the Catholic Church, all the sex scandals in all the fucking evangelical fucking churches, the fact that they never get held to account. Again, we continue to let priests argue that they shouldn't be mandatory reporters. We continue to let them shift around child predators. We continue to watch congregation after congregation silence, ignore, or downright persecute witnesses and abuse victims in their own congregations, and constantly rally around their predator, abuser fucking pastors. And we know this. And again, we let them play in our faces with these fucked up ass stories and then lecture us about morality. Why are we acting like this is acceptable? Knowing good and goddamn well they're full of shit. That there is no God and they are absolutely full of shit about their religion. And on top of that, they just continue to use it to justify the most immoral behavior possible. It's fucking disgusting. And yes, at some point you have to realize that you are teaching them how to treat you. I realize that some of these people mean a lot to you. They raised you, they were good to you. Hopefully there's enough of a shred of humanity left in them that if you really needed help and support, they would still step up and perform the role of, family member or friend in your life and help you out in your time of need. And I understand that means a lot to you, but at some point you have to answer questions about your own dignity and how you let people treat you. You are probably, in fact, a non-believer. And how long are you going to let yourself be subjected to, watching your family worship the source of your religious trauma in your face and call it family values? And then just sit around and toss around all this fucking bullshit in your face and you can't say anything about it, or else you're the big bad meanie. We're grown, gang. We're grown. We can chart our own path. And I think I will say this: the mission of this channel is to end the domination of religion in our lives. And I love that mission, and I think it's so fucking awesome because it's so fucking tangible. And it allows us to sidestep the bullshit. Honestly, it allows us to sidestep all the debates and allows us to stay focused on the motherfucking task at hand. I'm here to take this shit down. So we know what the goals are. But what I also love about it is that there is an insecurity for many people. You don't know how capable we are of actually tearing down these institutionalized forces that are so big and powerful. They've been around for thousands and thousands of years. They've amassed tremendous amounts of wealth and political power, and above all else, social influence. And again, many of you are currently experiencing the way it dominates your own family. But there's like a hidden layer there that's been becoming more apparent to me over time, which is the mission is simultaneously something only you can accomplish. Because yes, it is about ending the domination of religion in our lives in terms of political structures, institutional structures, social structures, etc. But only you can end the domination of religious authority in your life. And that is something all of us can do. And it's also the thing that by taking your power to do that for you as an individual, you actually are meaningfully bringing about the larger goals that we share, right? Because we're not trying to liberate the institutions. We don't give a fuck about the institutions, right? Maybe we might need to destroy the institutions in the process. We don't give a fuck about the goddamn institution. The goal is to change people's lives. And so if you actually change your life such that religion and religious authorities no longer dominating your life, then you've literally one less person whose life this is dominating. And we can count that as a real win. So it has this sort of dual, these parallel lines where it gives us clear social and sort of political clarity. But at the same time, it really challenges us to take this mission personally. And recognize the actual societal value of doing so, right? So rest up, you know what I mean, comrade? Like that's what this shit was about for me. It's like, nah, shit. How crazy is the system working us right now? I know one of the struggles in our community is we're broke and we're having a hard time economically, and we're financially insecure, economically insecure, sometimes food insecure, all the above. And at the same time, simultaneously, most of us are working harder than we've ever worked in our lives. It's like all we do is work. So then it's like, imagine finally getting a fucking whole ass day to yourself and then subjecting yourself to fucking bigoted, prejudiced family members who like aren't even decent enough human beings to honestly recognize that you're not a believer anymore. Then they probably shouldn't be either, but even if they are, they definitely shouldn't play about God all up in your face, but they're going to do it anyway. And then of course you can't get out of the humiliation ritual, so you're just going to go along with it. Like you'd be so much better off just like chilling, do nothing, like save your strength, like enjoy your day off. Again, pornography, gaming, and gambling is the way to go. But if that's not your thing, then do whatever the fuck your thing is. You know what I mean? All right, gang. We are going to jump into the main event. And before we do, let's hear from our sponsors. I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's broadcast. Us. That's right, motherfuckers. This shit right here is real, independent, secular media. We have no sponsors, no advertisers, and we sure as hell don't have billionaire backers. We don't think billionaires should exist, so they don't call, and even if they did, we wouldn't answer. Let's keep it all the way real. We are not popular. Conservatives don't like us because we tell the truth. Liberals don't like us because we tell the truth. Believers don't like us because we tell the truth. And honestly, even most atheists don't like us because we tell the truth. So if you want to support a channel that's actually independent, not corporate branded, not billionaire funded, not algorithm approved, you can do it completely for free. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share the content far and wide. Put other creators on to what we do. Tell them to check out the channel, encourage them to collaborate, or maybe even debate live with the community. And if you want to help keep the lights on or dream with us about a future where we can do this full time, you can drop a few ducats through Ko-Fi or become a member. Most importantly, stay connected with the movement. Join our Discord and pull up to our live headquarters inside Work Adventure. All those links are in the description. This isn't passive entertainment. This is a takeover. We are taking over the internet. All right. Let's jump into the main event. I've been like really excited to play this video and talk about it with you guys, but I don't know. It's just been kind of missing the opportunity. I scheduled to do it on another show, but we played another clip and ended up spending the whole episode on that, which is fine. But it ended up being perfect for today because I genuinely realized that like I do find it to be such a relief to not have to deal with religious family on holidays, and it kind of said, oh, well, then that's a perfect opportunity to talk about this, because this is a video. Hang on, sorry. Channel's name is Child-Free Cat Lady Jade. Apparently I'm not sub. Let's make sure we sub up. Smash that like button. But yeah, this is Child-Free Cat Lady Jade, and it is called Why I No Longer Allow Religious People Into My Life. Perfect conversation for today.
Was the acting humble, acting like you like everyone and everyone likes you, acting like you're basically a really nice person. And there's one thing I've learned about people who act like they're nice, is they're not. And it's all a facade. What is up, people? Welcome back or to another video. For those of you who are both old and new around here, a very warm welcome back. I'm super grateful to have you come and join us. Husband and I are both atheists. And I wouldn't have it any other way because I was very, very stern when I was dating and who I allowed into my personal space. That was just with dating. So I was a little bit more understanding probably when it came to friends or when it came to like work colleagues. I was always a little bit more trying to be really understanding. And I've spent the best part.
All right, real quick commentary there. I think that's like an important thing is you gotta understand and draw them circles in your life, and figure out who belongs in what domain. It's important for one to set your boundaries differently, and also to understand, like where your different limits are and things like that. But there's another aspect to it too, which is it also is a defense for being misrepresented. Like, for instance, the way I talk about religion or politics on this channel, people sometimes can mischaracterize it to make it into something that it's not. Like, as though I advocate for, like kind of just wantonly being mean or confrontational or abusive towards any religious people in your life. And obviously that's not the case. And so if somebody accuses me of that, part of what I understand is they're misrepresenting in a way that's like not understanding what I'm really about. Because obviously I don't think you should be going on a crazy atheist rant, at work, unless it's, if it's relevant to your job, or you have the type of relationship with your coworkers where that's normalized, or you're comfortable doing that, or you feel it's important for some reason, like that's fine. But obviously I understand for most people they don't. I understand with most people they probably won't ever do it with friends and family. I feel differently about those situations, honestly, because I think for most of us, our friends and our family also played a pivotal role in our particular religious trauma or indoctrination. So I feel like not everybody's gonna go there, but for some of us, it's really, really important. It's either really, really important because people are trying to figure out a way to negotiate that relationship, or more like I think people really have to figure out a way to deal with their religious trauma and, reckoning with their family and friends is a huge part of that. You've got to figure out what combination of relationship maintenance versus relationship non-maintenance you're going to do. But again, I understand those different boundaries. Or like my students, like I try to be honest with them, and certainly if they ask me how I personally feel about something, I'll tell them. But obviously by default I have a different level of tone and respect for different beliefs, socially, politically, religious-wise, than I have on my channel, because I'm not a fucking idiot, right? I have an obligation to my students as part of their support system that necessitates like a different level of care when I'm interacting with them than when I'm ranting on my channel. So that's why it's important, because then like when I ask you guys to like buck up and let's get down, I'm more or less arguing for you to do that in your spheres of influence where that's appropriate, right? So hopefully you're more comfortable leaning in that way, particularly like in your online, or like, when we're interacting in this sphere of secular content and influence, okay? Maybe with your friends and family or whatever, right? I'm not necessarily saying you should, go get yourself fired or whatever. So yeah, that's just an area of nuance that I think is important, and maybe we should talk about more frequently, because I do think a lot of times when we're having these conversations, people are not clear and specific about what sphere of influence they're talking for, and that's where I think a lot of times our signals get crossed, because we're thinking about an approach and we might not be clear on what audience we're talking about approaching that way.
Of probably 20 plus years being far too understanding for so-called friends who I've had in my circle, who have been some of the worst bullies that I have ever come
Thanks,
across.
X. I appreciate
And the turning point for me was
the
actually
review.
this year in January. One final incident happened with a religious person, and that is when I finally put that boundary down solid once and for all, and it will not be moving for the foreseeable future. In fact, I just wish I'd done it sooner. So I'll start with my childhood so that people can understand the journey to where I am now with religion. I grew up in a very, very Muslim area of London. I grew up around 95% Muslim. For context, my school in the entire year had about 5 girls who were white. I went to a girls' school and I could name them and put them on one hand. No word of a lie. So I grew up around that. I also come from a Turkish background. So if you know about Turkey, that is a Muslim country. However, my parents they didn't really instill that in me personally growing up. However, they did hold different beliefs. So my dad was more religious than my mum. My mum was of the mindset of, you follow whatever you believe in. I'm not the one to tell you. So I grew up kind of confused because obviously I had Turkish parents, but I grew up in England. I just grew up very conflicted all the time. And then, of course, I went to school where I spent 90 to 100% of my time only around Muslim people. So I grew up thinking, oh, this is how you have to be. And I always remember feeling a little bit guilty and always being made to feel guilty because I used to think it was just my own personal guilt. But actually, when I look back, I felt guilty because I was consistently made to feel guilty. So because everybody else lived their life in that way, and because the vast majority of people lived their life in that way, I was always questioned on why I wasn't living my life that way, because they kind of thought, they looked at me and I wasn't white, but I also wasn't in their category, but I should have been in their category, if that makes sense. So again, it was that constant conflict of
Thanks,
where
Liz.
do I belong?
Good to see you.
Which
Happy
side do I belong
Friendsgiving.
in? I just constantly felt confused, if that makes sense. So when I was growing up, I honestly didn't care about this topic because I was of the mindset, and I was of this mindset because my mum was of this mindset of like, live and let live. So my mum used to always preach to me, you like, let people be who they are and be very accepting of people and be very understanding and stuff like that, and very respectful if people do tell you their religion and stuff. And I used to be like, okay, fair enough, live and let live. And I held this belief up until literally like a year or so ago.
All right, so that message I think is really important, right? She says, like, I was taught to live and let live. And that's something I think is such an interesting sociological phenomenon, right? Is to think about language and programming and indoctrination. And it's almost like this sliding scale, right? Because not everything is indoctrination, and you come back, but we generally think that's into like a nebulous kind of negative space, and then we slide back into programming, and that's also often nefarious and not good, but can lean more neutral. And we can even do positive programming, and language is the heartbeat of life or whatever, but they go together because language is the basis of all of it. So there's so many messages that we just accept. So live and let live. And it's very interesting because it does promote a certain degree of tolerance. And so we understand that to be good or even necessary for a diverse modern society. However, I think we have to understand that the social parasitism is like real. Like there are lots of bad actors and bad people, and we have to protect people. So there needs to be limits to live and let live. But it's hard to do that because, when you're really critical of other people, or you're like, hey, no, I'm not going to accept this, or no, I'm not okay with that people. And I recognize that even for religious people, like that's why I think religion is such a good cover for vice and immoral behavior, because it allows you to really set hard boundaries and really, demand to have things your way, but in like a socially acceptable way. Whereas like the rest of us just kind of have to deal with that. Like we have to say like, no, I'm not okay with these people, and I'm going to stand on business and be like, yo, I love trans people, and I'm not going to tolerate this bigotry against them. Period. End of story. Oh, well, you're this, that, and you're right. And I was like, yeah, I just got to deal with it. Oh, well, you hate me. I didn't say all that. All I just said was, you said some transphobic shit. Like, don't do that around me. You know what I mean? And we just and if there's social consequences that, then there's social consequences that. But we don't get to be like, oh, well, my religion says that, the scripture said that, my God, you know what I mean? So yeah, like it's just interesting. Like that's why I love this. It was just like a really great reflective content.
Still incredibly patient and incredibly understanding, despite coming across some of the worst people I've ever come across in my life, and noticing that all of them had something in common when it came to
right. So that's the thing, right? So we live and let live, and then we've got to let these people play in our face. That's how these people get away with playing in our faces, though. And this is the thing with the liberals, right? That's why I love this, because it's like this is great to help liberal deconstruction, and also like I think we do center on the fuck-facedness so much that we gotta do more to uplift the great reflective voices that are going to help us grow in the right direction that we can celebrate. But yeah, this is so fucking clutch.
Sort of religion, and they would make that their whole personality and identity, and it would be the only thing that they spoke about. And I consistently remember feeling very judged by these people. I always felt looked down upon, even though all this time I'm being the neutral person. So I'm being very much like, I don't have any beliefs, but if you have beliefs, then that's great. I respect that. Yeah, I never got that reciprocated to me. Never. I could not think of one single occasion where I received that back from someone despite me being respectful. And now and again, I used to get really upset and really angry and think like, hold on a minute, I'm letting you be who you are. And even though I don't understand it, I'm doing this live and let live bullshit. Yet I'm constantly being shown like hostility back. So I never understood this. But and this is like one of the fucking problems with like the liberal religious mindset, right? Because and also the atheist liberal mindset that fucking apologizes for it, because it's like these people will never leave us alone, and this, like you have to take this shit seriously at some level, right? There's always this way, like, okay, fine, you want to point and laugh, fine, point and laugh, but when the rubber meets the road, let's not forget that these people are serious as a heart attack, and there are consequences to their fucking bullshit. So you can't just live and let live, because they're not going to live and let live. They're not going to leave gay people alone. They're not going to leave trans people alone. They're not going to stop doing racism. They're not going to stop supporting Israel's genocidal fucking intent. They're not going to stop protecting predators until they're held accountable. They're not gonna stop fucking brainwashing every fucking generation of children. I just don't understand how this shit is okay, y'all. I just don't understand where are my moms at? I told you, listen, women, I know you've been fucking carrying the load forever. I know you're real fucking busy doing literally everything. But I'm sorry, men can just no longer be trusted in positions of authority until they have proven themselves individually worthy of some modicum of trust, and even then they need to be heavily supervised. So I need the motherfucking moms to really be given the motherfucking baton. Okay, and compensated much better. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, let's tie this together. We need women to lead our social and political movements. So they need to be better compensated economically so that they have the type of leisure time necessary to fucking save democracy. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, equal pay for equal work, gang. Solidarity. All right, so, but seriously, why do we let them brainwash the children and pretend that that's okay? And then we see that our kids are dumb, and then we allow them to try to make our kids dumber. And then our kids end up in front of me in college, and they expect to become doctors and lawyers without reading.
In my 20s, I never used to want to rock the boat. I never used to want to make enemies. I was always scared of like talking too much or being outspoken, even though deep down inside I was that person. But I was always scared of being in trouble or anything like this. So when I came across these people, when I was like traveling or in workplaces, I would always try and keep peace by staying neutral. But these people, I remember the ones that I've come across, again, like I said at the beginning, from various religious backgrounds.
Love you, PC. Happy Friendsgiving.
Were always very manipulative, very hostile. And if you weren't buying into the stuff that they were saying, they would get really, really angry and really upset.
Pause the tape. But AR, this is serious shit, though. I don't know why people won't say exactly this. They've had their chance and need to be done away with. They've had thousands of years to get it right. They get it wrong every time. And we just offer them our modern lives on a silver platter. We say, we know you've failed for thousands of years, but yeah, go ahead and dominate our lives anyway. It's cool that literally every single elected official in this country swears in on a Bible and pretends to believe this shit. It's cool that we have literally an anti-human fucking party that just literally protects predators and churches do the work. Like, I don't know why we let these people play in our face. But AR, that's the message. That's what we need to, like, sorry, y'all have had your time. Your time has expired. I don't even care. Well, we're going to be progressive. We're going to be left. I'm sorry. Sorry. Ding, ding, ding. The timer's expired. Like, we're done.
Found it quite hard to keep friends with some of these people because where I just wanted a friendship and I was happy for them to be.
Religious people are the ex that keeps fucking promising to get better every time you fucking catch them cheating. And instead of leaving their ass, you fucking believe them and let them cheat on your ass again.
Who they weren't happy for me to be who I was. And I lived with that for so many years.
Exactly.
So some of the most common negative experiences I started having were from as early as primary and secondary school. I used to always get questions. So every time it was Ramadan, I would be asked, why aren't you fasting? Now, no one in my family personally fasted. So, of course,
Jake, I appreciate you. No worries. We got links in the description, I think, for like Ko-Fi or something down there. But don't worry about it, man. Appreciate the intent and happy Friendsgiving. Always happy to have you here, Jake.
My mum didn't do it. My dad didn't do it. My grandparents, I think, did. But even then, it wasn't something we did in our household. So I would then try and explain, and I would be like, well, my parents don't do it, so I guess I don't do it.
Oh, I gotta check them out, like, Liz.
But you're Muslim. And I'd be like, but I'm not. And they'd say, well, why is your hair out? You should have it covered. And I'd say, well, again, it's because I am not a Muslim. It's because no one in my family is doing that. So this went on. And then I went into college and I was basically guilt tripped into pushing an identity that I didn't actually have. So by this point, I'm like 16, 17. I have been made to feel so bad about not being a Muslim that when people ask, I like start telling people, yeah, I believe in God, like I'm a Muslim, just to try and keep peace, because like I say, these religious people, they're constantly confrontational. Like it's always
okay. This is so important right here. So important. And number one, she's totally right. They're so confrontational. But what has happened, and this is why, like, you never comply with fascists. You never comply with authoritarians. But this is what people have done. And I want to say this to liberal Christians and a lot of people. You're just fucking afraid of these people. And honestly, that's why so many people won't deal with their families. Like, I could tell you, like, finally, I know what it's like to not fear them anymore. And that's why they don't fuck with me, because they know I'm not afraid anymore. They know, like, I don't give a shit. I don't buy your bullshit. And it's like they don't even invite me to shit because they know, like, if it comes up, I might not say something then, but I'm gonna fucking speak my mind. Whether it's okay, I might let you try to say some shit, but I'm gonna show up the next day and tell you the fuck off about it. Because I don't care anymore. I'm not afraid of you. And so many people who identify as Christians, they just do it because they're so afraid of the Christians in their lives. They're so afraid. And I know a lot of y'all are there too, but like, I say one of two things. If you're still trying to convince yourself that these people are so loving and caring, then like, why are you so afraid of them? That's the contradiction. That's how I know you're stuck in an abusive relationship. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. But I know by the fact that you won't go there with people, this is the irony about it. The one thing I'll give my family credit for is this. I wasn't so afraid of them that I was too afraid to go there. Like, but I know how scary it was, even though they're not scary people, because I know how scary they are when it comes to their faith. Right. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat, but they're even more afraid for whatever reason. My family's fucking nuts, so maybe I'm just wired differently. But it's like people are always trying to give me like a conflicting story. Like they're always trying to tell me, no, their family's not the extreme Christo-fascists. They're like the good, reasonable, nice, neighborly Christians. Like, well, then why the fuck can't you talk to them about the fact that you don't believe what they believe and like, you know, have real meaningful conversations to deconvert them if they're not so fucking crazy about it, you know? And well, you can't, because they're not going to be reasonable about that. So then you are afraid to go there with them. And that does speak to like a power dynamic. You're an adult and you're having adult relationships with other friends and family members, and you can't speak freely. You can't tell them what you really think. They can tell you what they really think, but you can't do the same. That's an abusive relationship. I'm sorry. Like it's not my opinion. That's like it's like definitional. Like that's just what it is. So the key is to either make it not abusive, which is to literally assert your equality. Praise Jesus. Let's bow our heads in prayer. No, let's not. Well, we pray. That's what we do. No, it's not what I do. I don't pray. You guys can pray if you're welcome to, but I'm not going to participate. Oh, okay. That would be an equal exchange between adults. Everybody bow your head in prayer, and you're an atheist. You're like, do. Now look, I've had situations like I'll do it. Like I'll bow my head at a certain situation. I'm not going to do that for my family. I might do that at a party or like a social setting. Because again, I really don't give a shit enough about these people to make a fucking scene here. And I know they're just dumbass fucking Christians, and I don't have this is not the time, place, and I'm not going to have the kind of structured opportunity really necessary to get into things. It's just going to be, you know, me ruining a social experience and everybody's going to be mad at me. So, you know, and again, if that's how you got to get down, it's how you got to get down. It's fine. Again, that's knowing, again, those different spheres. Like when you're just a guest at some, you know, ancillary social function with people you're just consider acquaintances versus your need to like, you know, not be dehumanized in your family home at a family function in front of your entire family, right? There's a big difference. All right, so, but yeah, so that's the reality is we've got to acknowledge the fact that they're fucking assholes. And we know that the seriously religious people in our lives are fucking assholes. And so then you get these fucking liberal motherfuckers that want to act like it's all good, and all they're doing is way making for the fucking assholes to continue to be assholes with no accountability. Which is why you guys got to stop thinking that liberal or progressive ideas within Christianity is like a better alternative. You're literally asking for Nazism with a smile. It's never going to work.
It was never just a simple conversation, like just getting to know people or just trying to understand my viewpoint. It was very confrontational, and I was scared of being, at that age, you're scared of being left out. I remember I did
thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jake.
But of course,
Thank you, Jake.
when
I
you start
appreciate
saying
that.
people were like, well, hang on a minute. And then they start, well, why aren't you doing this? And then why aren't you
More
doing that?
importantly, man, I'm glad you feel like this is your found family, man. We love that, man. We're trying to build community out here. We don't consider each other like just internet friends. Most of us have known each other for a long time, and we're always welcoming new people. So yeah, you're probably hopefully in the Discord, and definitely come through Work Adventure if you ever want to hang out when we're not live, and hang out, play some games, or just chill for a while. Or if you co-work, sometimes if we're working from home or whatever, we get together. But always happy to have people. What's up, John?
You pray, and how many times a day do you pray? And it just spiraled into something else, because at this point I'm so conflicted.
What are you referring to, John?
I have no idea what to believe. I have no idea what to say. All I know is that I'm getting dragged both ends from people who won't accept when I say it and won't accept when I don't say it. So at this point, I'm literally like, I don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know who the fuck to believe in. But all I know is I don't want to be an anomaly right now. Because if you remember being that age, like 16, 17, 18, the last thing you want to be is you want to stick out like a sore fucking thumb. I remember a new girl coming to my dance class, and she had an American accent. So I was like, oh my God, like, are you visiting? Like, do you live here? She's like, no, my family have just moved here. Fast forward a year or so, we actually become really good friends. And she is, in fact, a Mormon. Little did I know about that, because like I said, where I grew up, you did not come across this at all, like at all. And I always found that really ironic that she had moved with her family from the USA to come and live in one of the most Asian areas of London to ever exist, to still exist even. And now I understand fully why her family did that, because as you know about Mormons, they're all about, getting people on board, converting people. And for a few years, again, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't care. She did used to talk about God and Jesus quite a lot. But like my mum had instilled in me, the live and let live, that's your beliefs. I'm really happy for you. Keep me out of it. And after a couple of years, it started becoming more and more pushy, more aggressive. And I just always got to the point where I felt very, very uncomfortable around her, because I was of the mindset of like, look, I'm letting you get on with your life. I'm letting you be the person you want to be. And you're not letting me be the person I want to be, because you keep bringing this up. You keep trying to convert.
Oh,
you
nice,
keep trying
John.
to talk to me. You keep trying to talk me in and get me to go to your church. This started to really grate on my nerves, because I was there being neutral and she was there trying to be manipulative, and I didn't respect that. I didn't want to lose friends over something so trivial, because in my head, she was in my heart.
I see what you're saying. So like, yeah, that's the way to go to, John, calling it in. Like, yeah, pick up the phone, call people, say happy Thanksgiving, and go on about your day.
Nice person. If she would just stop preaching to me, that would be great. But she unfortunately didn't. And unfortunately, our friendship then did dwindle. We had a huge argument. And I said to her, the thing is with you, and I remember these words very, very well. I said, the thing is with you is you want people to live in your bubble. And you're not willing to see the world from somebody else's standpoint. Because me as an atheist, I have never, ever, I don't think I've ever gone to a religious person and questioned them on, oh, can you show me proof that God exists? And can you show me proof of Jesus? And can you I just wanted to talk to you about, when you talk to God, can you tell me what he says to you? I've never, ever questioned a religious person like this, ever. It's never crossed my mind to try and convert someone to not believe in God or to leave.
What's crazy though is like, honestly, I think we should. I really, really do. I think the case for doing so is way stronger than people think. And I'll come back to that, but I think she's making a really good point. The bigger problem for me, and I tried to do this with the stream, and that's why I put it on the thumbnail for the last stream or whatever, that churches don't help people. Because I wanted to tie that story about the woman doing the social experiment about the baby formula, where most of the churches did not help her, to a larger consciousness of like, no, churches don't help people. This is more than just a little haha cute social experiment. It's actually revealing a much larger truth in our society that nobody talks about, which is that churches do not exist to fucking help people. In the very little bit of help that they do give to people is way less than what we would be getting if we taxed them, or else they wouldn't do it. And even so, it's manipulative, because they're usually taking advantage of vulnerable people, or at least at minimum, using their charity to further indoctrinate people and promote their fucking cult. And also at the same time obfuscating for the need for institutional reform so that we can actually address the societal fucking plagues that create the need for charity in the first place. So it's fucking ridiculous. And what she is talking about is another problem which we don't talk about in religion, which is that it's the most antisocial shit on the fucking planet. They're anti-family. They're anti-friendship. They're anti-collegiality. Why? Because they only really, truly offer those things to people who believe like they do. And at the end of the day, they're in a cult. And we're not honest about the fact that it is a fucking cult. And cults are really fucking abusive to anybody that's not in the fucking cult. Now, some of them are very limited in the sense that, like, they're decent human beings, and they're decent human beings because they essentially fail to live up to what the cult is actually asking them to do. So they know that they shouldn't probably be in a relationship with a non-believer who they're unequally yoked to, but they'll do it anyway because they just find ways to pick and choose what to take seriously. But the reality is, and again, anybody that really understands, especially the way American Christianity works, is like these people put it above everything. And so we should like stop celebrating that. And that's why a lot of y'all are afraid to go there with your family, because at a very deep level, your family's in a fucking cult and they care more about the cult than they care about you. So if you really challenge their cult, they're very much likely to just blow up at you, or even end, or, get into heavy conflict with you, because they can't handle you honestly criticizing their cult. That's not good for your relationship. And again, it's an abusive fucking relationship. You have to pretend like this shit is like okay, or you risk, them going off at you or totally ending the relationship. This is not okay. And honestly, I don't understand who these fucking atheist influencers are who think like we gotta be nicer to these people and we gotta befriend these people and we gotta meet them in the middle and all this fucking bullshit. They're in a fucking cult. Fuck all that shit. I'm 100% cult free. I'm not moving or budging or compromising. I'm not willing to be 1% culty, 2% culty, 3% culty. No, I'm a motherfucking cult-free motherfucker stuck in a goddamn dominant society. And I'm trying to burn that shit to the ground. Now, who's with me?
Their religion. Yet I've consistently come across people from across the board of religions who, after a while,
fun fact,
no
it
matter
cannot
how
be
patient you are
justified.
with them, and no matter how kind and understanding you are of them, will try to get you to go onto their side at some point. And if they haven't done that, they will do it in another way. So they will try to embarrass you. They will try and manipulate you. They'll try and humiliate you. They'll try and do all sorts of things. They'll try and make you feel less than because of your beliefs. And I remember one thing about religion that didn't sit right with me is the way they treated gay people and or trans people. That never sat right with me. And trust me, I remember.
And it's right now, all up in our faces. All up in our faces. Gang, as a black man, I gotta give it up to trans people because y'all have smashed the motherfucking record. See, as black people, we have always been at the way, way, way bottom of the social hierarchy. And let's be very clear, we still are. Even below trans people, because there's a lot of trans advocacy that nobody will get close to giving to black people because a lot of trans people got the complexion for the protection. I'm gonna just put it to you that way. But we're at least, depending on the estimate, a good 11 to 17% of the population, depending on who you ask, how you ask, and where you ask. So there's a lot of laws to keep us in our place, but there's also a lot of us. Trans people, they got 17 anti-trans laws against trans athletes in states that have 4 trans athletes. So each of them is responsible for 5 pieces of legislation. Imagine the government passing 5 laws against you personally. They didn't even need to make a law against trans people. They could have actually just written in the names of the specific trans athletes, and that would have been enough. It could be these 5 people can't play sports in the state of Louisiana. I gotta give it to these trans people. That shit is record shattering. The law per capita ratio that y'all are fucking experiencing right now is literally fucking historic. Should be. Where's somebody call Guinness? We got a motherfucking world record. Guinness is nah. We're see, the fucked up shit is Guinness hasn't even recorded this world record yet because it's nowhere near being done. That's the fucked up part. Guinness is we got to sit back and wait to see what the fucking what the actual peak tally is. It's fucking crazy. But again, we let these people play in our face. We literally see trans people being persecuted all day long. And these same motherfuckers turn around and tell us they're doing it to protect women. Could you imagine? They say they're doing it to protect the women and the children. Can you imagine the motherfucking Trump booty licking Christians who, again, are all attending churches that apparently need sexual predator insurance? The people who are worshiping in churches that need sexual predator insurance are passing record amounts of legislation against individual trans people because they're protecting the women and children. I'm just saying, I think it's time we let these people stop playing in our faces.
I remember hearing it time and time again because of all the Muslims that I grew up around. I remember hearing time and time again, you can't be gay. And I would overhear how they spoke about gay people and how they treated them in their society. And that never sat right with me. I was like, no, I'm not having any of this. I do not want to be associated with people who do not accept people for who they are and who preach love and light all the time, but then literally treat gay and trans people like shit.
I know. Like, seriously, I know. It's so weird. It's so weird. Like, I like wrestling and like MMA and shit like that. Even with the way these people go off, you know, when there's like a women's MMA fight or a women's wrestling match, like they like lose their fucking minds. Like, these same people talking about protecting women's sports. Do you know how you can torture them? Do you know how you can fucking torture them? You don't have to beat them. You don't have to like shoot them. You don't have to like starve them. You can just sit them down in the chair, like a chair like this, and then be like, all right, we're gonna watch this WNBA basketball game. Oh my God, what type of fucked up shit is this? Get me out of here. What type of woke mind virus? Oh my, what? No. Right, they will lose their fucking mind. You will think you just set a human being on fire. I just want to watch a fucking basketball game. We're just watching a women's basketball. What the fuck is wrong with you? They will lose their goddamn minds, but they're going to protect women's sports, gang. They're going to protect women's sports. They would rather literally fucking off themselves than watch women play basketball, but they're protecting women's sports.
Firm on the fact that I didn't actually believe in God, and I hadn't believed in God for a really, really long time. And this always came with lots of backlash. So I was always scared to say it. I said it in my head, but I was always terrified of saying this in case I made someone angry or I lost a friend or something like that. And I remember this distinctly. For my 21st birthday, I went to Egypt with my mum, just us two. And we obviously got questioned a lot when we were there because of the way we look and because of our family name. And the tour guide got speaking to us, and she was fascinated by, because we were on a coach full of predominantly like Germans, English, like all other white Europeans. And then there's me and my mum who look like this. So she's looked at us two and she's like, where are you two from? Because I can obviously hear you have British accents, but you do not look English. And so we were explaining, so we explained where we're from and what languages we speak, etc. And the tour guide says to my mum, oh, so you're Muslim? And that's when I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again. I said, well, I don't believe in God. I said, I'm an atheist. And this tour guide, do you know what she fucking said to me? She was like, you're not allowed to say that in this country. And I was like, what?
Can you fucking like, imagine? And this is the same shit these motherfuckers were saying in our faces here with all this is a Christian nation and all of this blah, blah, blah shit. Like, and y'all, but see, this is the thing too, like, and here's the thing, we do this to ourselves as Americans. We do this shit to, again, I'm gonna just talk about the politics of fucking pro wrestling because that's some shit I fucking know. Motherfuckers flipped out at the idea of Saudi Arabia hosting WrestleMania. They are losing their shit because Saudi Arabia is mean to women, and Saudi Arabia killed a journalist, and Saudi Arabia does sports washing. Motherfucker, do you know who Saudi Arabia learned sports washing from? Do you know who taught fucking Saudi Arabia how to get your country to ignore crimes against humanity and just watch sports? Yeah, just think about it. Go do your homework. Come back. I'm sure you'll be very excited when you find the answer. I get it. Saudi Arabia makes the women's cover up and the other stuff. They do the things, the bad stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whoo! Be ashamed to hear that fucking type of criticism from a motherfucking country that's currently covering up the largest fucking pedophile ring in fucking history, ignoring the cries of women for justice for, I don't know, really rich, powerful men raping children. It'd be a shame if Saudi Arabia was getting the criticism from that fucking country, wouldn't it? That'd be awkward. Oh, and that country's hosted every other WrestleMania ever? Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. So again, like, I'm down to critique Saudi Arabia. Totally down. And yeah, let's critique them. Okay. But if we're not allowed to send WrestleMania to a country that treats women like shit, murders journalists, and, has a questionable history of human rights, where do you suggest we take it? It's just crazy. You know what else Saudi Arabia does for their citizens? It gives them fucking healthcare. Yeah, it does. It gives them fucking healthcare. Damn. All right, well, let's roll the tape. That was awkward.
Asked. You're the one who brought it up. You asked me. I
remember my point. My point was that as Americans, we love to do this thing where we look at those other countries and we go, that sounds like some crazy Islamophobic, Islamic State fucking shit, right? It sounds like some fucking Islamic regime and the Islamic terrorist regime, right? So think about that. It sounds crazy because we're like, damn, it sucks to be in a country where if you're like, yeah, I'm not a Muslim, people are like, don't say that in this country. Now, let's think about America. This is literally a country where everybody swears in on a motherfucking Bible. And we know the number one thing that makes you unelectable is in this country is if you say you're a fucking atheist. And many of y'all who are listening to me right now talk are literally afraid of what would happen if the people in your life found out that you were an atheist. Think about that shit. So that shit sound crazy to us. Oh my God, she's in this fucking country and everybody assumes she's a Muslim. And if you say you're not a Muslim, people will be like, shh, I wouldn't say that around here if I were you. When you literally don't free to, right now in America to tell people that you're not a fucking believer. It's crazy how we be pointing the finger at other fucking societies. Crazy. We have no room to talk.
No. She goes, yeah, I know, but she goes, I wouldn't say that out loud if I were you because you're not allowed to be an atheist.
Sounds like a Christian nationalist wet dream. Exactly,
and to fly out of that fucking country because it was not a nice place. It wasn't a nice experience in my personal experience.
Yeah, that's how I feel being here.
For the next couple of years, I, of course.
That's exactly how I feel about America. If I had the means and the job opportunity, I would be out this bitch. Matter of fact, every time I get a new job opportunity, I'm like, all right, cool. That's a few more months of paychecks, and I could hopefully look for a way to get the fuck up out of here. Save me. Y'all, this place fucking sucks, and that's just what I would say. I'd be like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I was there. I was born there. Spent, I guess, nearly 40 years there. And yeah, I just didn't have a great experience. Would not recommend it.
Didn't know what to say. So I was kind of like, well, what do I say now? Because everything I fucking say is offensive. If I say I'm a Muslim, people go, oh, but you're not doing XYZ. If I say I'm not, it causes another problem. The funny thing is I've actually done a DNA test and I came out 1/4 Egyptian. That is what is fucking ironic about all of this. But let's continue. It gets worse, guys, because at the age of 23, guess who moves abroad and who goes to the UAE? This idiot. I get a job offer in the UAE and I unfortunately take it.
Yeah, it sounds like my dumb ass going to work at a Catholic university. What the fuck was I thinking? Sumami was like, Jay, it doesn't sound like a good idea. Can you take that other job offer? I don't think this is gonna work out. I was like, nah, Sumami, I got this. Don't worry about it. I got this. Yeah, she was right. You know you're fucked because Sumami's always right. You don't want to hear it. I don't really like the way she necessarily puts it all the goddamn time, but you're pretty much cursed when Sumami tells you some shit's not going to work out. Like, God damn it. That's like, it's like, she's speaking on fate right there.
When I was doing all my visa requirements and everything, they ask you, what's your religion? And I was like, for fuck's sake, I am sick of this fucking question. But then again, it was my fault. I shouldn't have applied for that job because I knew it required me to live in Dubai. And I was just desperate at that point to have a successful career and to get the experience of living abroad as well. So I'm going through all the options and I'm telling you right now, there was about 150 different fucking religions on that drop-down menu. Do you know what wasn't there? Atheist. I couldn't put that. Wasn't even allowed to put agnostic. Everyone was saying to me, just put Muslim because you'll get treated better. And I was like, I'm not saying that on the basis that it would be lying. So in the end, there was one option that I was allowed to pick. I wasn't allowed to pick. I had to pick. There was one option, and that was prefer not to say. Again, it was that force of, we're going to put words in your mouth. And I'm just like, I've had so much therapy about this because it's created so much fucking trauma in my life on the basis of it's made me feel like such an inferior person. It's made me feel not worthy of love. It's made me feel not worthy of success. The way religious people have spoken to me in my life and treated me, when I look back at all the bullies I've come into contact with, most of them have been of a religion.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's really like, that's the thing. That's kind of the thing. Like, that's one of the things I think I would bring to, different shows. Y'all know me. We don't get the opportunities to debate and do the call-in shows and all that like everybody else does. But y'all know when we get our chance, that shit is motherfucking different. And yeah, that's one of the things. Even when I got to do the Let's Talk on Skeptic Haven with John from Godless Engineer. Shout out to John. That's the homie right there. Like immediately when we actually did get a real Christian caller, they wanted to do the whole pronouns thing and the homophobia and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, what a great advertisement for religion you people are. Like their prejudice and their bigotry, like they're bullies. Like it's such a weird, creepy thing. And even the most of the expressions of it, like, okay, so again, like, we go to these different Pinochle games and stuff like that, and it's weird because Black people's social functions, especially when they're in a Christian household, it's just they can't help themselves. And so anyway, there's this weird thing. Like I know it's so normalized, but to me, it's like weird to have a social function or a party and like insist that everybody engage in your like religious customs. Everybody has to hold hands and pray, and it's just like it just gives me the fucking willies. So yeah, I don't know. It's very uncomfortable for me, and it's actually really nice to like process this kind of trauma, because when I look back at it, yeah, I did always feel that I had to go along with all of the rules and approval seeking, right? That's the thing. You're always having to seek their approval. And if they don't approve of something, they have this moral high ground to like make you feel like shit. And so your whole life is like complying, and it's never ever enough. And it's so goddamn exhausting.
And they're the people who have made me feel the worst about myself. Only now at my age, going through all my therapy sessions and unpacking all of the awful experiences I've had,
I wanted to come home,
putting
Jake.
together the pattern recognition of who these awful people are, it has always come down to the same thing. It has come down to a religious person, time and time again. And a lot of you might be watching.
But I am.
Person who
oh god! Whoops! What did I just do? I am happy that I moved back to New Jersey. I like being a lot closer to my dad and Newark, and my life here has been it's been good to be home. I'm not close with like my mom and my grandparents, but being close to my dad and my cousins, and back on the East Coast and actually around Black people, that all of that has been fucking wonderful. Love teaching at Essex County College. It's been great. Hope to keep doing that. We'll see how things go. All right. What were we doing, gang? Oh, we're doing the video on why we don't talk to religious people. Duh, we're ruining Thanksgiving.
Going through all my therapy sessions and unpacking all of the awful experiences I've had and putting together the pattern recognition of who these awful people are, it has always come down to the same thing.
Yes. And this is my case for Christianity has to go down with Trump. Okay, let me articulate this clearly, because I want to do this right, and then we'll jump back in with her. God, I love this video. She's so good. It's not enough. Like, if we're gonna take this moment seriously, there's so many fucking problems, and I want to be the first to acknowledge this. Like, not the first, but like that guy joked about in that skit we saw at the beginning of the video. Like, there is a way in which all of us are not going to really do anything about any of this shit with Epstein, and it does say something terribly indicting about our society, but it's not really tied to Epstein. It's sort of just the learned helplessness that has been deeply ingrained in all of us. At the same time, there is, I think, real hope, despite the fact that it's been such an uphill battle, that this is something Americans might not let go of until it comes to some sort of meaningful resolution. And there has to be accountability for that to happen. But for something so potentially seismic in society to not be a farce, it's not enough to name the names, release the files, bring the involved parties to justice, call it a day. That needs to happen. And for that to happen, some historic shit may need to occur in terms of bringing people in power to justice in a way that does not happen in our society. That would, in and of itself, still be historic, but again, not enough. There has to, at the very least, be a meaningful analysis of who did it and why, and how did this happen in our society, and what are the elements of our society that produce this behavior, not just in the people involved, but in the rest of us, our entire system that allows this to take place. And that's where I think our opportunity is, where we say Christianity has to go down with Trump. We need this to be the downfall of MAGA, and with MAGA, we need to realize that the whole infrastructure that produced this was our American Christian culture and its open defense of this stuff. That's why that's the through line of all of these things I wanted to touch on today. Starting with the myth making that we all engage in, all the way through to these systematic efforts to lower the age of consent and normalize child labor and undermine the education system and, lower the age of consent and lower the age of which you can be tried as an adult and legalize child marriage. And again, they're playing in our fucking faces. So we cannot sit here and pretend that this is, just some bad apples. No, this is the product of a rotten fucking culture. And we need to be clear about the role Christianity continues to play in producing a rotten fucking culture. And if we don't, we are literally just saying, okay, we picked off a few bad apples. Go ahead and get ready to pick off the next few bad apples, because the shit's going to keep happening. And that's the thing. That's why it comes back to that question, gang. Are we more uncomfortable with the fact that there are forces in society that want to legalize child marriage so they can marry and fuck children? Or are we more uncomfortable with our suggestion that we should say something about it?
Down to a religious person time and time again. And a lot of you might be watching this and be like, well, why would you move to a place like the Middle East when you held such beliefs? And you're right. I still think about that choice, and I always look back at choices that I've made, and I try not to be regretful, because at the end of the day, it shapes you. But sometimes I look back on that and I always wonder what my life would be like if I had said no. But there's nothing I can do about it right now other than learn about it. But I must say some of the worst traumatic experiences and conversations happened, unfortunately, when I was living in the UAE. The emotional toll that it took after I moved back to the UK, it took a further 10 years for me to process everything that I had been through. And if you thought the bullying that I had in the UK from the odd religious person that I met, I don't even know where to start with the bullying that I experienced in the time that I lived in the UAE. Now, I want to obviously make it clear once again that this is no specific religion. It is all religious people that I've come across who I feel have behaved in a certain way, and that way being very emotionally abusive, very manipulative, using clear bullying tactics, being incredibly harshly judgmental on all people, regardless. They're usually judgmental on anyone who just isn't like them. So any kind of difference of opinion, anything like that, just incredibly, incredibly nasty. And you might be watching this being like, yeah, but this is not everyone. You can't put everyone in the same category, yada, yada, whatever. But those people who don't preach, you wouldn't know any different, because those people, they have a belief and it's for them. And that's what I understand, is that belief should be for you. If you believe in something, be that God, heaven, hell, etc., it's for you. It's for your own life. It's for your own comfort. That, again, brings me...
Okay, this is so interesting. This is all so interesting. And again, I love this channel. I love this video. This is another one of those things I think we should like really critically examine. One of the things I'm really understanding more and more, just having been given the chance to teach sociology, especially after finishing, my training as an evolutionary biologist, and coming back into the social sciences, I bring an incredibly biologically driven perspective to the social sciences, right? But I bring an incredibly social perspective to biology. And so for me, it's weird that we talk about belief as a private individual phenomena. I see that playing a really pivotal role in the way religious belief is protected. It's protected by this narrative that it's a private matter. But the fact that it's being treated as a private matter sort of belies the fact that it's a very social reality. It's a product of a social system, and nobody comes to belief in a vacuum. And the other thing that's so interesting is about tying it back to like the discussion I had with Patty about consent that I sometimes bring up on this channel, which is the reality that like most people actually did not consent to their own religious indoctrination. So we treat it like it's a matter of their personal private choice, even though they, in most cases, had no choice in becoming believers to begin with. And I just think if we took that seriously, it might change the way we talked about belief. Also, we have to understand that belief informs behavior. And so again, I think we have enough literal scientific evidence that while it might be part of our social narrative to continue to respect, people's legal rights to, their own religious practice, I think we can start to have a conversation where we can say, actually, you know what? I think we know, based on the evidence now, that, beliefs have a profound impact on people's behavior. And we have reason to be particularly concerned about religious belief because we know how motivating religious belief can be, while at the same time, there's no evidence for them. So we should be particularly wary then of religion, because again, religion so reliably motivates extreme behavior, but completely lacks anything empirical to uphold the veracity of religious claims. So that's something we should we should actually start to be more actively questioning as a society. And again, like, also, if we took all of this to be sincerely, we would also really want to value religious criticism, right? Because we would want to say, like, yeah, okay, you can believe whatever you want, but that doesn't mean whatever you believe is actually true. And I have every right to say that, yeah, I heard what you said, but that sounds like a bunch of fairy tale nonsense. And why do you feel so persecuted? You think everybody else's religious beliefs sound like a bunch of fairy tale nonsense. I just think yours sounds like a bunch of fairy tale nonsense too.
Beyond to the topic that those who preach it, what are you trying to gain? Are you trying to get me on board? In which case, if you're doing it in such a horrible, pushy, manipulative way, what makes you think I'm going to want to join your gang? Every single person that I've encountered has tried to not only push the boundary, not just to break the boundary, but has actually disrespected and humiliated me in the process. All because they met someone who was a bit different to them or who didn't believe the same as them. I am very much live and let live. But the minute you not only cross my boundary, but you try to knock it down and you disrespect it time and time again, when I've told you this is where I stand, that's where you stand, let's keep out of each other's business, or at least let's try to get on. And you've disrespected that time and time again when I've been calm and patient and stood my ground gently, and you've continued and continued. That is when you lose all kind of privileges to be in my energy. That's when you lose all access to me and my energy. That is when I no longer can tolerate any kind of disrespect. And quite frankly, I wish I'd done this years ago. I always say it's very unfortunate that it's got to this point. I didn't want to get to the point where I'm having to fully cut out a set amount or set group of people. I don't want to have to do that. But because of all what I've been through with therapy and finding out about all this, what I didn't even know what religious trauma was before, until I started hearing other people talk about their experiences on different levels, of course. That's when I finally had to make a decision.
Ooh, okay. So some of us are in the same boat, and you can have that conversation with the people in your life. You can start talking about religious trauma. They don't want to have that conversation, which is why I think you need to quit and not bother. But, you know, if you insist on having these people in your life, I suggest you at least learn how to fucking defend yourself. But listen, gang, this is why Christianity has to go down with Trump, and you got to stop fucking around with them religious folks in your family. That's why you got to ditch them. I'm just telling you. You're in an abusive relationship. See, a lot of y'all know that we deal with religious trauma. I know I suffer from religious trauma. A lot of y'all probably suffer from religious trauma. We know this. You have to understand, when you're in a relationship with a believer, you're in a relationship with someone who not just like endorses and institutionally supports, but literally worships the source of your trauma. That's not healthy for you. That's not a healthy relationship. Like, I just need you to understand that. It's also not healthy for you to live in a society where the source of your religious trauma is constantly venerated, and literally these fucking cult nut jobs are trying to make that shit law. Right? And you see all the harmful shit they're trying to normalize and get away with. Right. So we got to get serious about the fact that we're not playing with this religious bullshit anymore. Like, we can't keep living like this, gang. Like, this shit is not okay, right? All right, let's keep going.
And it's not going to sound nice, and I'm sorry it doesn't sound nice, but I just don't know what it is. I'm still to this point under the impression that it's a mixture of these people want constant validation from strangers. That's the only conclusion that I can come to.
Absolutely.
And when they don't get that validation, that is when they get angry and they start their bullying tactics and their emotional abuse. That's the only thing I can think of logically, the reason why this behavior has to be like this. Because I grew up thinking that religion was peaceful and was all about community and bringing people together and being accepting. That's the impression I was given.
Yeah, and you're given that impression because we say those things so that we don't have to actually confront the very uncomfortable reality that it's exactly the opposite. And again, people have to talk about, how does it do that? You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers always just failing to ask them damn questions, y'all. You got to ask them damn questions. Asking them damn questions is the key to our motherfucking survival up in this bitch. So when they tell you it brings people together and the harmony and the purpose and the hope, meaning, okay, all the bullshit. How? Oh, yeah, by defining a very rigid in-group against a very specific out-group, telling the in-group, filling the in-group with narcissistic delusions of grandeur, right? And literally thinking that it's okay to dehumanize the people who are not like them, or at least that they should be converted to also being part of the cult in the in-group. That's if that's how you think we should be building community and hope, meaning, and purpose, then yeah, me and you ain't gonna get along, and we shouldn't be. We not on the same page anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really had to break it down like that, people would see why it's so fucking toxic. So, but yeah, that's how we're conditioned to perceive religion, and the reality is just not that. But that's part of the privilege that they have.
Anyway, in my religious studies at school, that's not what I saw. In fact, that's not what I've ever seen. I've never seen that behavior. I've never fucking seen it. To this day, I cannot tell you a time where I have seen someone who preaches religion be either nice, understanding, be accepting. They've been everything but that. The final straw for me was around this time last year. I was working with a Muslim person, and again, the only way I found out they were Muslim is because they told me. I will never go around asking this question to anybody, because I'm sorry if this sounds horrible, but I don't care. And of course, he would bring it into every single conversation. So we'd just be talking about foods, and he would bring up that he doesn't eat pork. And we're like, okay, no one asked you. Or like my work colleagues would be talking about how they're going to go out for drinks after work, and he'd say, oh, I don't drink. No one actually invited you. Let me just put that out there first. So no one actually invited you. You don't drink alcohol. That's fair enough. Loads of people don't drink alcohol, and a lot of it isn't religion. It's just for health reasons or because they don't want to spend money on alcohol. This person was consistently looking for validation. Do you want me to give you a slap on the back because you don't eat pork and you don't drink alcohol? I know loads of people who are vegetarian and who don't drink alcohol. Are you going to give them the same?
But again, like, what is the church doing? I do think that the church that is like an institution and is always talking about the family and the family values and protecting the children. What are y'all doing about the real problems? That's the other thing about religion that I fucking hate, is that it's so fucking selfish. It's just constantly fucking like glorifying yourself based on your individual behavior. What you do or don't do, always do, never do, whatever the fuck. And then you're never concerned about the real fucking problems in the world. Nobody gives a shit. Meanwhile, you're literally in a fucking cult that's responsible for the fucking worst of human behavior. Like, so gross. But congratulations, you don't drink. Oh, also you don't cheat on your wife. Great, awesome. You're not fucking supposed to. That's not a moral credit to you. That's like neutral. Like, you're not a good person because you don't do immoral things. You have to actually do good things. Y'all are like, hey, I don't do bad shit. Aren't I fucking amazing? No, you're not amazing because you don't do bad things. You're neutral and useless at best. Neutral and useless at best.
Treatment? Or is it because that person's just made choices and you've followed a book? Which one is it? This person specifically is not everyone. This person specifically would come in every single morning, and the red flag for me, and I've never seen
I love it. I love being on the big screen because I'm vain. Nah, it just always feels cool when people are like, got you pulled up in the living room or whatever. It's awesome. Thanks.
Seen a grown man do this. I have never seen it before. He would come in every single morning and he would hug every single person in the room. And I thought that was really nice at first. I was like, oh my God, he's such a lovely person. Like, he obviously gets on with everybody. He's obviously popular. Until after a couple of months, I was like, nah, something's not up here. First and foremost, not everyone wants to be touched. Second of all, I just find that weird. Like, I'm quite a tactile person, but I know perfectly well that not everybody is tactile and not everybody likes being touched. So I always ask people, unless I know them and they know me, I always ask people, are you okay to hug? This person was launching himself on people, like giving everyone back slaps and fist pumps, like he was Mr. fucking Celebrity. Okay, that was another thing. It was the acting humble, acting like you like everyone and everyone likes you, acting like you're basically a really nice person. And there's one thing I've learned about people who act like they're nice, is they're not. And it's all a facade. But I learned that a very long time ago. I just was silenced for many, many years and couldn't be myself and couldn't say that out loud. I noticed very early on that this was nothing but a facade. That is just my personal vision and view of things and how I've experienced it. Yours may be different.
Yeah, and it's and it really is just so unbelievably toxic, and people don't talk about it because, again, even when you do the right thing, you're doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. You're doing the right thing to push an agenda, the agenda of an untrue cult that is also morally depraved. And that's why religion is morally depraved, because again, they've got this ancient book of bullshit. It's 2025, and they look in the book of bullshit and they're going, no, we should be able to marry teenagers and treat women like property. Like, I don't understand. Slavery is not bad. Like, God says clearly right here, you can take the slaves from the nations around you. Like, what seems to be the motherfucking problem? Like, it's just, and then the rest of us just like go along with this shit. Like, I don't understand. Like, the further I get from religious belief, the less sense any of this shit fucking makes to me. But it is so gross. And so then you have to think about the depth to which they go to push it. So you have these people in society who people are like, oh, they're so loving, they're so gracious. But think about it. They're going around building these relationships and hosting people and whining and dining you and, you know, loving on you intentionally and basically grooming you so that you'll accept their cult, so that you'll take all of this positive love. Like, they literally use love to manipulate you into the cult. And once you really like get out of line with that, it stops, you know, and people know that. People know you have to say what they want and make them comfortable in their delusions in order for you to continue to get this good treatment from them. It's all very like sick and twisted. And I don't know, like, society just isn't ready to call it out. I think largely because it has upheld white supremacy and patriarchy and capitalism and all of these other toxic aspects of society that, quite frankly, the powerful and influential in this country don't really want to challenge, because it's the source of them being the powerful and influential. And also they're sort of afraid of, you know, the audience capture, the fact that, like, you know, these people are very vindictive, you know, they're always complaining about cancel culture because that's how they see the world, right? They're the cancelers. They want to, you know, they understand the attention economy and the real economy of goods and services as well, right? And so they know to threaten to withhold support and to unsubscribe and to, you know, stop love bombing influencers and creators when they say things they don't like and things like that. And you deal with the same dynamics with family and friends. So it's terribly manipulative, but it's really awesome to just kind of let it go. And that's why I thought this was such a good video to review today, because I had a good day and I was in a good mood, just kind of realizing that I felt liberated. I felt free to enjoy my day off and do what I want to do. and associate with who I want to associate with, and I feel no pull towards subjecting myself to religious family and all of that bullshit today. And it's really nice, actually. And like I said, it's part of the mission where we want to end the domination of religion over our lives. And that does mean in terms of the institutions and in society, but it starts with literally realizing, hey, I can actually take the power back in my own life, and I don't have to feel compelled to go along with this shit if I don't want to. And now I feel like it's kind of like a superpower. Like even like when I meet people online or something, it's just like, hey, like, oh, I'm an atheist. Like I really not a big fan of Christianity. You probably don't want to hang out with somebody like me, and I can just like eject them from my life like rapidly, like get away. Like I have like super like a religious like repellent or something on, it's like amazing. So you can really embrace it after a while. And again, we can be a little okay making them as uncomfortable as we know they've always been willing to make others uncomfortable. Matter of fact, I think it's necessary. I think you have to recognize that they're in a cult, that there's a real power struggle going on over their influence, that they're incredibly resistant to deconstruction. And that it's going to take a little bit of influence and potentially, I would say, force. I don't mean violence, but I mean force. I mean like when you're playing a game and you play to win, right? You're there to force that. You're there. No, we're going to score. No, we're going to score. They're going to have to stop us. If they don't stop us, we're going to score. If they don't stop us, we're going to score again. If they don't stop us, we're going to score again. Like with force. Like, no, that religion is bullshit. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's how we need to be. We need to be there, right? We need to be, when they start talking about they bullshit and waving the cross over everything and everybody bow your head. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Why do y'all want to bow your head and thank the monster for your food? That's weird. I told you I'm a non-believer. Why do you want to worship the source of my religious trauma in front of my face? Why are you thanking a God for that you've never seen actually do anything, instead of thanking the people that spent 4 days preparing this meal? Why is it that every time this family gets together, we can't just enjoy each other and we have to always make it about God? Oh, and by the way, does your church have that fucking sexual predator insurance? Have you heard about this shit? Does your church have that? Do you know if your church has sexual predator insurance? You should ask. Did you know churches have sexual predator insurance? No, seriously, did you know churches? Like, gang, go there. Go there. I'm tired of this shit. And if you don't want to go there, do like me. Ditch the religious family, link up with the gang, celebrate your holidays with your friends, and do your thing. Have some fucking fun. Life is too fucking short. I don't even have time anymore to be dealing with these people. Look, I appreciate y'all. Hope everybody's having a good time. Hope you have some time to rest and relax and enjoy yourself. If you did spend time with family and friends, I hope you had a good time. If you didn't spend time with family and friends, hope you had an even better time. Get some rest, gang. Love you guys. I'll be back soon for whatever's next. I don't even know what that is. Oh, me and Ember will be on tomorrow doing adult Bible study. So make sure you catch that. I think it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks to all the mods. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. If you catch us later, tell us what you did for the holidays down in the chat. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate everybody for showing up.